step into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, well, I tune to my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Take a deep breath in. A very good morning to you. Mzansi, my name is Jamie Domberg, reporting live for duty on this Monday morning. The time now is 6 o'clock. Time to get you geared up for this week ahead. We are wrapping up Women's Month on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And this morning, we are going to be celebrating it with the vocals of Megan Schilder. She is beautiful. She's a powerhouse. And she's also the brainchild behind Realizing Equilibrium. And we'll be performing songs to really motivate us into the week ahead for Gospel Monday. We're then also catching up with a visual artist, Naledi Modupi, who aims to inspire Black women through her artwork. So we always say, all you have to do, you have the easy job today. You have to sit back, relax, and enjoy for the next 3 hours, because we really are going to be informing you, entertaining you. Like I said, it's the last few days of Women's Month, so just get inspired as we kick you off for this brand new week. And one person who is so excited to do exactly that is Mr. Nature Boy himself. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Jamie Lee Donberg. You're looking sprightly, looking bright, and your energy is everything we need this Monday morning. And I hope yours is too, Mzansi. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. It's Monday, the start of the week, the start of a new opportunity to slay the day and use all that beautiful energy inside of you. Now, this question this morning, if you haven't noticed already, this being Women's Month, we're asking you the question of what did Women's Month teach you this year? I've been absolutely blessed to be speaking to some of the most incredible women, some psychologists, some influencers, you name it. And I personally have just been so encouraged to, number one, prioritize women in my life. I think I've been re-educated on how important they are, how valuable they are, and the great, incredible purpose that they do actually serve in our lives. Now, here's to all the incredible women out there as we carry on celebrating and putting up on the pedestal that they definitely deserve. But let us know what you think, and come through on our social media channels, of course. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got everything. Come through, we want to chat to you throughout the day. And while we do, we'll, of course, get into all the good stuff too. We've got stuff coming through in the kitchen, which is going to have an absolute delight and a smile on your belly's face. But guys, let me not stall you any longer. Jamie D. Domberg is here with the news.
Thank you so much, Ral. Kicking us off and letting you know what's happening in and around the world. We start with those national news. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says the October school holidays will not be scrapped following meetings with the Council of Education Ministers. The minister said that lost teaching time would have to be recovered on a school or district level, though this must also be within reason. Under the current 2021 school calendar, government school learners will be on holiday from the 1st to the 11th of October. Meanwhile, the minister also gave an update on the impact of the pandemic on school learning. She said the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a massive loss in learning time at schools, especially in poorer communities. Between 50% and 75% of learning was lost in 2020 and at least 50% so far in 2021. Socioeconomic researcher at Stellenbosch University, Professor Martin Gustafsson, said first-time intake into grades R and 1 had dropped. There were some 25,000 fewer learners aged 4 to 6 than there should have been. On the international front, Zambia's newly elected president, Hakainde Hichilema, yesterday appointed new military chiefs and replaced all police commissioners after he had pledged to end the previous regime's heavy-handedness. Hichilema, who took office last week, was arrested over a dozen times during his political career and made restoring freedoms a major part of his electoral promises. In a TV address to the nation, Hichilema announced the appointment of new army and air force chiefs and relieved all commissioners of police with immediate effect. And then India has administered more than 10 million COVID-19 jabs in a single day for the first time as the country bolsters its defenses for a predicted new surge. This beats the country's previous daily record of 9.2 million. The government aims to vaccinate some 1.1 billion adults by the end of the year. India has so far recorded 437,370 deaths and more than 32 million infections, the second highest in the world after the United States. And then finally, on a feel-good note, farmer expresses grief with a sheep art heart. A more touching tribute you'll go far to find. Because of lockdown restrictions, Australian sheep farmer Ben Jackson of New South Wales couldn't attend his favourite Auntie Debbie's funeral when she passed after battling cancer. So he sent her a sign of his love and affection by means of sheep art, making her a gigantic heart out of hundreds of sheep and then filming it from above using drone footage. He managed this by spreading feed in the shape of a heart on his farm and then allowed scores of hungry, mostly pregnant ewes to enter and begin munching away. The heart-shaped scene on video include her favourite song, Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and it was also shown at her funeral. Jackson said, and I quote, "I hope she was peering through the clouds and was able to see it." And I think one can quite understand that this story has been covered by news media around the globe, and we understand why. On that note, that is where I wrap your 6 o'clock news headlines. I will be back on the top of the hour. Here is Nature Boy with a first look at the sports.
Thank you, Jamie. And a lot of sport happened this weekend, a lot to celebrate and a lot to look forward to. And we're starting off with the Paralympics. Aruna Weyers won Team South Africa's first medal at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. Now, the Stellenbosch sprinter won gold in the T47 400-meter event, crossing the finish line in a time of 56.05 seconds. It was an absolutely incredible win for the runner, who recovered from COVID-19 just 1 month ago. Now, South African long jumper was also in the mix as Ntando Mashlungu broke a world record and made it 2 gold medals for Mzansi after finishing first in the T63 category with a final leap of 7.17 meters. Let's go, Mzansi. Now, moving over to the rugby, where Western Province and the Griquas secured their spot in the Currie Cup semi-finals and will meet the Sharks and reigning champions, the Bulls, in the Final Four. Western Province claimed an impressive 35-24 victory over the Sharks in Durban to sneak into the semis, whilst the Griquas and Pumas played out to a 13-all draw in Kimberley. The Peacock Blues advancing after finishing third on the log. Now the Bulls will host Western Province and the Sharks will entertain the Griquas in the semi-finals at the Currie Cup this weekend. And now moving over to the Premier League with soccer, and Liverpool and Chelsea played out to a 1-all draw in the English Premier League clash at Anfield on Saturday, where Kai Havertz opened the scoring for the Blues in the 22nd minute and Mohamed Salah's penalty in the 50th minute equalised for the home side with a match ending 1-1. Now, in other Premier League results from the weekend, defending champions Manchester City thrashed Arsenal 5-0, Tottenham Hotspur beat Watford 1-0, and Man United secured an away win after edging Wolves 1-0. And moving over to our motorsport, Red Bull's Max Verstappen was declared winner of the Belgian Grand Prix in a race that lasted 2 laps behind a safety car at the Spa-Francorchamps track. Now, heavy rain prevented the race from continuing, and half points were awarded to the top 10. Williams' George Russell finished second, and 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton rounded off the podium positioned in third. And sticking with our motorsport, Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo extended his lead at the top of the MotoGP standings after taking the race win in Silverstone yesterday. Now, the 22-year-old now sits on 206 points with 5 wins and 8 podiums this season. Quartararo finished ahead of Suzuki's Alex Rins and Aprilia's Alex Espargaro's. South Africa's Brad Binder finished in 6th place as well on top of those standings. Now, this was the first time in MotoGP history that 6 manufacturers were represented in the top 6. Now, that's a roundup of our sport this morning. Let's find out first up what's happening in and around the world with our weather report. Now, starting off with our weather report, a mild cold front is expected today, but the weather will be warmer than during the past weekend. The SA Weather Service says although some rainfall is expected along the coastal regions of the Western Cape, it's not as severe as during the past weekend. Now, this as many residents of KZN and in the rest of the country woke up on Saturday morning to a winter wonderland as snow had fallen throughout the night. Now, places such as Mooi River, Giants Castle, and even parts of the Natal Midlands, Pietermaritzburg and Hillcrest were turned into a winter landscape. Now, in the Western Cape, chasing the snow was a wonderful way to spend Sunday, but a number of traffic snarl-ups occurred at some popular locations, and that especially being around Ceres. Now, freezing temperatures preserved snowflakes on the ground, providing an ideal terrain for frolicking in the snow. And vehicles were gridlocked and moving at a snail's pace in Franschhoek's Pass, as well as Mitchell's Pass. Now, while we do love a good sunrise, of course, we love the fact that so many of you get to experience the snow that fell across parts of the country this weekend too. And Anthea Kruger from Worcester captured this picturesque image of the snow-capped mountains in her area this weekend. And Clive Plain from Strand was also inspired to pull out his camera while overlooking the Hottentot Hollands mountain covered in snow. Now, if you were able to get out to have a frolic in the snow this weekend, you know we want to see those pics. So please keep them coming and head over to our Expresso Facebook page to share those photos with us. And of course, thank you. Nature Boy is smiling inside. Now, moving on to the rest of the weather in the country, we're starting off with Polokwane, a low of 7 and a high of 22. Mbombela, a low of 13 and a high of 27. Pretoria starting off on 8 and moving to 21 degrees. Johannesburg starting on a low of 7 and a high of 20. Mahikeng very similar with a low of 7 and a high of 23. Klerksdorp, you're reaching a high of 24 today, starting off at 5 degrees. Kimberley very similar, starting off on 4 degrees Celsius, moving all the way to 23. Bloemfontein, a low of 1 degree Celsius and moving all the way to 20 degrees today. No chance of rain expected. Richards Bay, a low of 13 and moving up to 25 degrees. Pietersmaritzburg, starting off on an 8 and then moving all the way through to 25 degrees Celsius. Durban, your maximum today will be 21 with a low of 15. Mthatha, a low of 3 degrees, nice and chilly to start your day and then moving up to 25 degrees. East London, a low of 11 and a high of 24. Cradock, also ending the day on 24 with a low of 4 to start off. Berga, a high of 21 degrees. You starting your day off with a low of 11 degrees Celsius. George, a low of 10 and a high of 21 with a slight chance of rain coming through at 8%. Cape Town, a low of 11, not moving too high up to 15 degrees, but a high percentage chance of rain coming in at 60%. Worcester, a low of 7 and a high of 16 with 25% chance of rain. Sutherland, a low of 3 and a high of only 14. And last but not least, Uppington, a low of 4 and a high of 25. And that's a roundup of your weather for this morning in and around South Africa. Of course, keep those beautiful pictures coming, and we're going to keep the beautiful show going. Jamie Lee Domvig's here for the next one.
Absolutely. I know it doesn't feel like it, but believe it or not, spring is 2 days away, everybody. So it's time to update your wardrobe accordingly. As you can see, this top is screaming springtime chic. It is beautiful. It is silhouetted. And today I've decided that I'm going to opt for this top just because I'm trying to get ready. I'm trying to transition into that springtime feels. Beautiful, elegant square neckline that you can see. It is a nice bit of a flow. The pastel colors is also coming through. And just like that, heads will be turning. And of course, hopefully this has inspired you if you're going out into the world today, if you're getting ready for school, getting for work, you are going to be turning heads with your springtime chic. And as always, you know what to do. You can shop these in store, online, or on the app. And remember, Megan Schilder is coming to us for Gospel Monday in just a moment, so don't go anywhere.
A promise to the planet, to tread lightly, to act with care, to think of the future, to appreciate nature, to shop more sustainably. Woolworths, the difference.
Only you can make my day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show on S3, and it's time to spread that feel goodness because Megan Schilder is the singer, principal songwriter, artistic director, and brainchild behind Realizing Equilibrium. Hailing from Mitchell's Plain in the Western Cape, Megan's artistry is an extension of her faith in God. She has collaborated with the likes of Matthew Ntumba and the Grammy-nominated Neville D, and earlier in her career, she also formed part of the South African Youth Choir. This morning, the singer and songwriter joined us for Gospel Monday, so please, can we give her a warm Expresso welcome, everybody? Hello. I really wish you guys could see like 10 seconds before Megan came running and she's like, oh, what? Yeah, take a deep breath in.
It's crazy
so good to have you with us.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you.
Welcome to live TV. This is how you do it. As you can see, it's all fast-paced.
I'm here for it.
But take us back to where it all began, where that passion and love for music first started.
Sure, it's probably with my family. We're a very musical family. My uncles are professional musicians. Both sides of my family, they sing. So I think family gatherings always looked a bit like music was involved somewhere. And so I think music always felt like family to me, if that makes sense.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's
beautiful journey.
Definitely where it started.
That obviously brought you to where you are right now, creating a band or a platform called Realizing Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Tell us about the name, because that means the balance of the in with the out with the new. What is that all about?
Yeah, I know it's a tongue twister. I always have to apologize to people. Oh, I feel like I do. But it really came during my studying. So I studied jazz and did a lot of songwriting during that time. And it was really just helping me to process life, process the seasons. And so songwriting and music sort of became a moment where I felt like I'd met with God in a way, you know. And so it felt like that point of equilibrium, you know, like where 2 points meet kind of thing. And it always, like the word that always would play in my mind is equilibrium. Like this feels like a point of equilibrium. And yeah, so when I eventually had decided to release the music, I was like, I have to go with that. Like it just feels right, yeah.
I love that. And then also talking about new music, you are expected to drop an EP this November, which is also my birthday month, so that's exciting. Tell us about that, the process of getting new music out there.
Yeah, so I did some cool recordings. Actually had the incredible honor to have my uncles on the music, and worked with a guy called Marius Bowers in Joburg, and my nana and Gabriel. And on this EP, my friend who is, wow, she is my friend, Elizabeth Gaylord.
Elizabeth, she does know you.
Sorry, Elizabeth. But yeah, they all featured on this track, and it was just such a beautiful process to put the music together. And then I'm really excited to release it in November, God willing. So yeah.
And of course, it's Gospel Mondays, so we invited you to come and sing your heart out, to just bless us with your ministry. And we obviously asked Mzansi to choose between songs. So we gave him the option of God Is Not Abusive, I'll Stay Quiet, In Just One Moment, and then Flags. Obviously, In Just One Moment came through with the most votes. Why do you think that, you know, South Africa resonated so much with the song?
Sure, I think that was definitely the song that was released first. I mean, practically it's gotten, you know, more room to grow. But I don't know, honestly, I think it was the process leading up to even getting the song out. Like, it was such a raw, honest moment for me, even penning the song, you know. And I honestly feel like people can tell just the emotion that led up to even getting the song out there. And I'm just so honored that it can be something that I can share and that people can relate with. It feels very much bigger than what I could even do, if that makes sense. So,
100%. Yeah. I hate asking this, but I also like putting people on the spot. What can people expect from you? I know you spoke about new music coming out. Is that what your hopes are for you and your brand?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, the idea of even just not necessarily going with my name as my artist name is really just to bring people along into a story that's much bigger than me, a story that's much bigger than you, and I guess to tell the story of life, tell the story of what is my truth, tell the story of freedom and hope and love. And I pray that that's what it would translate as through music, through whatever art gets poured out through it. yeah.
And for anyone, just watching right now who's struggling to find, their balance and finding their purpose, because you have clearly found yours, just spreading the message of hope and spreading a message of goodness, what would that word of encouragement be?
Sure. I think the thing that's helped me a lot is to realize that like as long as blood is flowing through my veins, like there has to be a purpose. Like there has to be a reason that I'm here, and I think if anything it would be to tell people, I mean, COVID has really like attacked people's breath and people's life, and so I would just say, as long as you are here, as long as you're alive, there's a reason, and God loves you, and it's not in vain. Like your heart is not beating in vain, and I just pray that would be something that would drop as truthful for someone today.
Thank you. We needed to hear that. Megan Schilder, I did tell you that the inspiring Megan Schilder is here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show with 3 performances for Gospel Monday, so you do want to stick around right here on S3.
You're definitely going to want to stick around because it's going to be something you do not want to miss, of course, to start off the week. And speaking of starting off the week, we've got something special because last week on the Insider SA, Vodacom gave away 10 gigabyte vouchers. And this morning, we're thrilled to announce the 10 fortunate winners who went onto the Insider SA social pages and entered telling us what Vodacom Red plan you are on and or would like to upgrade to. So I'm going to ask for some help with this one because I want to get Jamie Lee to do this with me because we love making people happy. We're making people happy.
Okay, so I'm going to do the names because I just want to hype them up. Guys, are you ready?
Hype girl. You ready, guys?
The first one is Rory Sang N, Chefafolo Ali, Andisa Pearl M, Mukatule Cheli as well, Elizabeth Takani, Lucia Mhlompo, Tolochelo, Makofane, Deko Untomane, Nono Undlovu, and Itachi Uchiha.
Yes, those are our winners.
Come on.
Also, well done on the names. Those are very challenging.
I know, I bit off too much that I can choose, but we got to do them.
Oh, well, how exciting is that? And we hope that all of you enjoy your 10 gigs of data and you can experience so much more. And for those that missed out, we got news for you. Don't worry. You still have a chance to win this week's incredible prize. How did that happen, Jenny?
Now, you stand a chance to win another one of those 10 gigabyte data bundles courtesy of Vodacom. Now, to enter, all you have to do is find the Vodacom post on the Inside SA social media pages and comment on the post telling us what you like most about the Vodacom Red revamped plans. It's that simple.
Yeah, now the revamped Vodacom Red plan includes Red Flexi, Red Core, and Red VIP. Now, each one of these plans comes with benefits and rewards to experience and unlock more, from travel such as flight and accommodation discounts, entertainment, premium services, and signature experiences. Find out more about the new Vodacom Red packages by watching the Insider SA this evening at 5:30 p.m. on SABC3 as we meet up with the well-known fashion designer Gert-Johan Coetzee.
Oh, he's a darling. Now find out how he gets through his day being a Vodacom Red VIP. So go on and watch the show tonight, again, like Aral said, and then head on over to the Inside SA social media pages to enter. You could, everybody, be one of those 10 winning a 10 gigabyte data bundle so you can experience Red and unlock so much more. Now, remember, the competition closes this Saturday at midnight, and those T's and C's can be found on the insidersa.co.za. Happy entering to all of you.
The ultimate accessory, the latest shiny thing. Mesmerized, trying to keep up, but never getting ahead in an endless cycle of spending. In this world of constant upgrades, do you want a bank that takes your money or a bank that takes your money seriously?
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. It's Monday, and what a day to recap all the magic that happened this weekend with South Africa, of course, bagging 2 gold medals at the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics. And that's a big thanks to runner Anruna Weyers and, of course, our long jumper Ntando Mahlangu. And topping off the sport, of course, too, we had Western Province and the Griquas booking their place in the Currie Cup semi-finals. We had Red Bull's Max Verstappen, who won the Belgium Grand Prix, and we had Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo extending his lead at the top of the MotoGP standings. Now, sports journalist Yolulue Ngoshe joins us via video call with all the details. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, man. How are you?
So good, and it's good to be chatting to you, man. I think there's so much to talk about right now, so much that happened this weekend. But can we please start off by celebrating the magic that happened with the Mzansi at the Paralympics, man? How are you feeling, and what do you make of these performances?
No, they're great. I mean, shout out to both our athletes. I mean, Weyers as well as Mahlangu. I mean, if you look at Mahlangu's situation, he had to break the world record twice. Because he's competing as a T1 athlete in a T61 athlete in a T63 event. So he broke the T61 record, and that put him in 3rd place. And then when he broke the T63 athlete record, which is for single amputees, that's what put him into 1st place. So he has just done something magnificent.
Truly, man. And if you think about it, he literally took it by, I think, 0.05 centimeters. That's the difference between gold, and that's what it takes just to edge off and get that podium. And I must say, I'm pretty impressed. I don't know if this is correct, but Mahlangu was definitely at the last Rio Olympics, and he won a silver, right? And I think this is an incredible achievement. I mean, coming from being, the youngest Paralympian on the podium. I think he was 14 at the time. He's only 19 now. I mean, geez, what do you make of this BMT from the youngster?
It's incredible, you know. He's a young man. He's been winning, you know, since his junior days in South Africa and internationally as well. So he improved on an individual basis as well, because his last personal best was 6:47 meters. So he improved by 70 centimeters altogether to get that world record in gold. So he's doing great.
And choosing the best stage to do it on as well. And to carry on the conversation, of course, we had that incredible 400-meter run. What a performance. And something I believe is even harder, especially after being diagnosed with COVID-19. A month later, you head over to the Paralympics, and then you claim gold in an event like the 400 meters, which is like purely lung capacity. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you know, big credit should go to her for that, because she, like you said, had to fight COVID-19, and also with COVID-19, the after effects, and for athletes, you don't have that much time to get over those and come and perform at peak. You know, get your peak performance out at a big stage, like you just alluded, you know. So big credit to her. She did really well, and she represented our country well as well. And yeah, she deserved a gold. I'm very happy for her.
Yeah, man, I think the country's definitely celebrating and smiling, and I think we needed this too, so well done to them, and I think this is going to carry on setting the bar for the Paralympics. So moving over, we've got so much sport to go through. The rugby this weekend, it was a big weekend. It was establishing and setting up the big semi-finals. What do you make of that game between, well, there's so many games. We had the Griquas against the Pumas first up. Let's talk about that draw. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, seeing my boy on the screen there, Christopher Hollis, big shout out to him. You know, he came through with that try, but they got them, you know, that drawing point, you know. So the Griquas are through. Unfortunate for the Pumas, you know, they fought hard, and it would have been nice to see another team outside our top teams get into that semi-final. But, you know, that's rugby for you, you know. Credit to the Griquas and commiserations to the Pumas.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, that province game seemed to be quite a good one for them. Seemed very confident in that win. What do you make of their performances leading up to the semi-finals now? How do you think they're going to be faring? They're looking pretty strong going into this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know of a saying called "cometh the man, cometh the hour." I've never heard of "cometh the hour, cometh the team." You know what I'm saying? So maybe they're the first to actually come make that come to fruition, because they haven't been a strong force throughout the round robin stages. But when it mattered the most, that's when the results started to come. Players like Sean Young, the experienced players, they started rolling back the times and played like when he was a Springbok, Edel van der Merwe, So yeah, they played very well, and they deserve to be in the semi-finals as well, and they left it late. But look, it's how you finish that battles, I guess.
And let's talk about the Bulls. I mean, strong as ever, table toppers, of course. Do you think they're going to be able to get taken down if there was to be getting to the final?
I think they're in a very good position, because they were able to rest a couple of players completely, and they still managed to get so many points on the board. They've got so much depth. They've got a good combination between the youth and experienced players, and Jake White is fusing that so well. So they're a very good unit. It's hard to see any team taking them down. The Sharks did, but that was under different circumstances. So can the Western Province do it at Loftus in the semi-finals? I think that would be a huge ask. So I think, they'll continue all the way to the final at least.
Yeah, look, man, and obviously the motorsport, a lot of chaos and carnage there with the rain causing a little bit of interesting results nonetheless. But it looks like the top podiumers are doing what they do best, all things considering. I mean, what do you make of the race this weekend? Obviously a lot of delays with the rain.
Yeah, that was controversial to say the least. Apparently they went just the 2 rounds because that's the requirement, So a lot of the racers were not happy, particularly Lewis Hamilton, who said it was more about the commercial side of things and filling financials rather than people getting a racing spectacle. But look, it's half point for everybody that was on the podium. Lewis Hamilton keeps his lead, but it's cut down to 3 with Verstappen coming in closely now.
Yo, Lungwe, it's always good chatting to you, man. Of course, you, Mzansi, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, because we are about to chat about all things English Premier League with the 2 super fans in just a few moments. We'll see you soon.
Nourish your skin with Ingrams for men, enriched with triple glycerine. For 48-hour moisture and no stickiness. Ingrams, your skin, your brave.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. Monday, of course, and we're continuing to talk about all the magic that went down this weekend. And we're talking about the sporting highlights from the weekend. We're talking about, it's so much to talk about. Now, Yuluwe Moshe is still here. He's joined by our Liverpool and Chelsea supporters. We've got Neil Reuters and Richard Davies in the building. They're going to be chatting about all things English Premier League. Welcome back, Yuluwe. I hope you're still there. And gents, welcome to the studio, man.
Thanks for having us back.
It's good. So I've got a friend here and I've got an enemy. just to establish a few things. I want to get to, before we get into the good stuff, let's chat to Yuluwe. Manchester City vs Arsenal. Incredible game. I think after City attempting to add a striker to their team, and then without that striker even coming through and even getting that signing, absolutely thrashing Arsenal 5-0. And I think Arteta's scratching his head right now. Yuluwe, what do you make of that game, man? Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm definitely still here.
Let's talk about these woes with Arsenal, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Arsenal because, look, you know, everybody's speaking about the 50 million defender, and when they needed a 50 million pound defender, he wasn't there. You know, still suffering from COVID-19, I believe, or at least the after effects. But look, well-oiled machine in Manchester City is going to be hard for any team to come up against him. So, you know, it was bound to happen, I guess, you know, and it's just one of those days where everything clicked for them. And yeah, you know, unfortunately for Arsenal, they got them on a very, very bad day.
Yeah, man, City's definitely looking scary. Gents, I don't know what you thought of that performance. Maybe not too concerned considering the big match of this weekend.
Absolutely.
Oh, it was a big one. I was scared, to be honest, considering how strong Chelsea's been looking, especially in that first game. Kai Havertz is really coming through. Lukaku, I've got to say, what an incredible buy from you guys. So much strength, so much power. Is this something that you're excited about, looking forward to? The plethora of strikers that you've had and seeing someone like Lukaku at his age coming through. What do you make of this man?
Indeed. He came to Chelsea, what is it, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a great success. He was perhaps a bit young, but he's been nurtured, and now he's a top striker. He's one of the top 3 strikers in the world. It didn't turn out to be the Virgil van Dijk, Romelu Lukaku show as we anticipated, but we'll get into that. But
I must say I'm absolutely impressed. If you look at the man at Manchester United, then going off to Italy, and he's come back now, he must have lost about 20 kgs. He's looking fit. He's looking like he's got this new invigoration, which I never saw at United. So for him coming back to the Premier League like this, it looks good. And let's speak about that duel. I mean, we had Virgil van Dijk coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
A lot of skepticism as to whether he's 100% or not. Is he actually ready for such a task? And I mean, I don't think it gets better than being put up against someone like Lukaku. What do you make of that head-to-head battle? What did you see in that build-up, and what did you see that you thought, hey, Virgil's back? I can feel him here. What do you make of it?
Well, as I've said on Friday, I'm going to repeat this again. It's not about the individual players, but it's about the team as a collective. But what we have seen with Virgil van Dijk coming back into that Liverpool squad is just a solidified backline. And I think we saw that, and we had a great pushback from our backs into the midfield against Chelsea.
Let's talk about that penalty. Red card or not?
Quite keen.
Yeah, that's been the controversy of the weekend, I guess, you know. Look, usually when the ball deflects off another part of your body onto the arm, that's usually a mitigating factor. But this time around, what I'm hearing is that because Reece James's hand went after the deflection towards the ball, that takes away the mitigating factor and renders it a handball, which is a red card because effectively it stops a goal scoring, you know, a clear goal scoring chance, you know. So yeah, unfortunately, if you're going to follow the rules like that, it was a red card.
We do have an upside of the red card. While we're watching, I want to definitely hear from the Chelsea supporter what his opinion is on that.
I'm keen to hear.
This is not about whether it was a red card or not for me. This is about how the FA seems to change their analysis of what is needed for the game on a seasonal basis. So, you know, they want to speed up the game. So what actually happened was the referee was instructed to go over and have a look at the replay. It looked like he saw a still picture of the replay.
While you're chatting, we actually got a nice little replay of this which you can look at while we're chatting about this. Maybe Mzansi can also weigh in on what they think about this result. But yeah, as you were saying, sorry, Richard.
Yeah, so what has upset some of the fans is how the referee went across, looked at a still image of the replay, all he saw was the hand on the ball.
Yeah.
That's it. In other words, he was under instruction to give that goal. All that he needed to do was to sanction the fact that the hand had touched the ball.
Yeah.
Which certainly sounds to me like he's not actually being the referee in this instance.
A bit of influence coming through there on that decision.
Yeah, so you know, it's a bit iffy as to who in fact is controlling the game. So for me, it's not whether it was a handball or not. It's how they actually go about this going forward. And that was the thing that sort of upset the Chelsea fans to some extent. And then a kind of a double standards thing, you know, Mohamed Salah kicks the ball away 9 times out of 10, that's a yellow card.
You want to see consistency in those results, of course.
They give Mandi a yellow card for kicking the ball away. You know, is this double standards?
Let's have a look at that while we have still got the time. We've got a little upsound of this event, and maybe Mzansi, you can tell us what you think about this. Let's have a look.
They did everything to put him off, and he didn't fall for it.
Yeah, I mean, at that moment, though, I mean, yes, all decisions aside, it felt like we had the momentum. It felt like this was Liverpool's game. I was a bit disappointed. I don't know how you felt. To be honest, Chelsea with a 10-man team, that was absolutely incredible stuff. To do that at home in Anfield, I was honestly impressed. I've got to say, I don't know how you felt about that, but for me, a little bit disappointed.
Well, so what we had seen, and this is what I mentioned as well, there will be 3 phases or 3 gameplays during that match. We saw that coming through in the first half. We saw those balls coming from the side, going into the centre in the first 20 minutes. After that first 20 minutes, they managed to get their goal. We went and immediately went into the third strategy, and that's what... and all of a sudden, there's this bus that's parked there, this wall that's left
synonymous
there.
Of the
Nothing
Champions
coming
League.
from the midfield, and that's why I think we could see Liverpool being quite dominant but not being able to capitalise on that. It's because there was no midfield on the Chelsea side, with 6 players being left at the back. To the penalty, I want to say, because this came just at the end of the first half, or just before the first half had ended, I believe a definite red. If we have the last player of defence behind the goalkeeper committing a foul and a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity, well, what do the laws say?
Look, gents, I think we could sit here on this couch and chat and debate and argue and fight potentially for days, but I want to thank you all for coming through this morning. It's always good to hear from the fans' perspective as well. I've got to say, I think on this one, well done to your team, Chelsea. You really did an incredible performance coming through to the Anfield. To round up the rest of the results, of course, we had Norwich losing to City 2-1. We had West Ham and Crystal Palace coming up tonight. Spurs obviously taking a win against Watford 1-0, and then United sneaking a 1-0 win. I thought Traore was looking absolutely incredible, but what a weekend of sport, gents. Thank you so much. Your Lulwe, thank you so much as well. And after that, I'm feeling very hungry. Let's see what's happening in the kitchen.
Well, I'm about to serve you boys, because another thing that is a classic South African favourite, we all know, other than sport, of course, is the traditional Verti. It's the perfect blend of meaty goodness with a hint of Cape Malay spices that makes a great family feast all year round. And who better than Miss Jenny Morris, who's here to show us how it's all done, Mama. Hello.
Hello, sweetheart. The Liverpool team would love this.
And you would love to feed them, I'm sure.
Oh, I do indeed.
Behave.
I'll try. So you said spices. So we have a little bit of curry powder. Well, this is the turmeric, or we would call it bori.
Bori.
Is it bori or buri?
Bori. That's how I grew up with bori.
It's bori. And some garlic, because we need the garlic. I like to cook it out with the onions, because it becomes aromatic. It releases all those delicious flavours.
Look at this one coming in as well.
Love you, darling.
A
little bit of black pepper. And I like to fry the pepper as well, because the pepper, it's the king of spices, releases all that deliciousness. And a little bit of salt in here, because it'll release all that delicious juice from the onions, but the rest is going in here.
I was just going to be like, are you going to leave that salt? No, you're putting it into our meat as well.
Jenny, like the salt too much. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you to take that bread.
Yes.
Which is day old. It's nice and stale, so it doesn't absorb.
We're going to throw some milk in.
And then you're going to put a little drop of milk in it. Just wet it down for me, my love. And then I'm going to put a little bit more of this Be Well.
Olive oil for the blend,
the olive oil. and let it just cook out beautifully. What I like about this particular recipe, it's a no fuss, because everything, darling, is going straight into the meat. But
Whenever I'm using the stale bread, it always reminds me of when my mom them used to have to send me to our neighbours just to be like, go ask Auntie Joni if she doesn't have old bread
Old bread for us, yes.
Here we go, back to the old bread.
Here we go. Talking about old bread, this is for my ma, this recipe. She loves Rosalind Bernardi, my Oma, my granny.
Rosalind.
She's my adopted granny. I just adopted her.
Rosalind, if you are watching right now, we are making this one just for you, okay?
Gran. Just for you, Gran. So what I love, once again, I'm going to just put this egg in it because the egg's going to bind it. And it's like a little meatloaf. You know, hurt that, darling. Come on.
Yes,
give it a good smack.
Get in there.
Yeah, you get in there and smack him. This is beautiful and ready. I can smell those spices. It's ready to go into here. And this is, it's like a big meatloaf, you know. And we're going to put some tomato. Look at that. You can cook the tomato out as well, but I want the chunky bits in it. Right, in you go, sweetheart.
So this is going in?
Yes. And then we're going to make a nice custard. So this is like a big South African meatloaf, really, because what I like about this baguette is that you can cut it. And, oh, can you smell those spices,
I
darling?
love that. And you know what? A lot of times people don't like baguette, and I don't understand why.
You
I
hold
was like,
that
this
and
is a
give Jenny.
perfect...
Sorry, I interrupted you.
I can, no, not at all.
This is a bietjie warm, né?
That's that.
Okay, in you go with the spices.
There we go, and that all goes in.
Love it.
There we go. Let's scrape
You were saying
everything.
about what you loved.
I love the fact that there's raisins in because I see it there, and I love that. I think that raisins are just that perfect balance, cuts into all of that spices. It gives you that sweet element to it because it needs to have that. It needs to have that perfect balance of
and we're going to keep a little bit for the top. And I know you were eyeing the nuts, and I said you can't eat them because they're part of my garnish.
I've never seen nuts in it yet.
It's on top.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not.
It's not inside, it's on top. Got
it. I made waffles last week, if you remember, and I just love the ice cream on top. Now, you just give this a nice mix, and this is the easy part. All we do is just literally, we layer it down, make sure
that
it's all
let me
there.
do my...
You make my custard so long, just beat the egg with the rest of the milk. There we go. Does it not get easier than this? You can make this.
Yeah, and that's perfect because for the next day, you can just pop it into the kids' lunchbox, and then you have to serve it with yellow rice. Okay, good.
Yes.
We understand.
And a bit of extra chutney and a little bit of, I like
sambal.
Yeah. We
are the same person. We are the same person.
We're the same person, one and the same. Okay.
You've taught me well.
You can put, I sometimes like to just put a couple of lemon leaves over the top. To make it moist and pretty, or some bay leaves.
Some bay leaves. I was just going to say, and I usually see people put bay leaves on the top as well.
And I scroll them nicely. So you're going to give me that custard. Hurt it, Jamie. Hurt it, doll. Shake it, baby. Over the top you go. Throw from the centre. Go, go, go.
Is that fine?
That's good, girl. And then we just let it just, look at that. And then we just have the, so sorry. And then just do this so that the custard really kind of gets into
Seeps
every
in.
part of it, like that. We put a little bit more there, and then we do pretty.
Does this go in now or afterwards?
It goes in now because you
look
want
at
it to.
that.
It makes a beautiful, beautiful crust. And I always say, tradition is tradition, and we never lose the essence. The essence of tradition is in here. But we're just jazzing it up a little bit.
And I know you say you like to jazz it up with a bit more of chili powder because you like the heat.
I like the heat, yes. I do like a little bit, but traditionally it's not very, very hot.
How long in the oven?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
And then we have that beautiful dish over there.
Well, this is what I'm going to feed you.
I know you're going to feed me.
So I'm going to...
Bring it over.
I don't want to break it. Can I give it to you later?
You can give it to me later. Actually, I'm going to cut it in half for me and for Rosalind, okay? So I'm going to take
Granny,
half. Granny, we are coming for you. But, of course, for you at home, expressoshow.com is where you can get your hands on that recipe. And let me just say, happy eating to all of you.
Monday is here. Monday's got all those blues sorting out energy that you need right here in the studio. And I thought I'd start something off with the full body workout, because I know over the weekend a lot of us we tend to binge, we tend to go a little bit overboard when it comes to the calories. So I thought, let's invite Jamie Lee Domvig in the studio as well and burn culls together.
Did you see what I had this weekend? Maybe that's why, right?
I did. Don't worry though. I got some kettlebells as usual. I know that we love burning culls, starting off Monday with intention. And a workout is a great way to set the intention off. And at the same time, you know how much I love efficacy and efficiency. So it's not just about isolation, but it's about burning culls. It's about moving the entire body, building muscle, and at the end of the day, just having some fun. And that's what we've got right here this morning. So you can grab a kettlebell, you can grab a dumbbell. Remember, you can grab a bag of books, something heavy, anything will do. And that's all you need for this workout this morning. So we're going to start off with the basics, and each workout has an advanced level.
I like how you say basic, because your basic is literally like next level, and then I'm just trying to keep up with you. So let's see what your basic is.
There was a day a while back when you used to be basic. No longer is there basic gym here. So as always, using the kettlebell, we're making sure we have a neutral spine whenever we are working with heavy equipment. A workout like this, it's always good to do a warm-up before. So a good walk, a vigorous jog, or some sort of mobility. You've seen what we've done in the show before. It's always great to warm the body up and get ready for the actual intense exercises, which are these moves over here. So to start off with, we're going to do something called a staggered stance, right? So you're having your one foot in front of you. Let's start with the left foot, right foot behind me. And then the kettlebell is in line with that front foot on the ground, all right? So from there, we're going to do a staggered deadlift, right? In this position, you have your back foot raising off the ground, your heel, sorry, but your front foot is nice and firm and planted. And from this position, you're going to lift up the kettlebell, keep your spine neutral, and push those hips forward towards the kettlebell. That's going to get a good squeeze and stimulation of those glutes, all right? Let's just repeat that. So coming down, keeping the spine neutral, and then squeezing and thrusting those hips forward as you go through this motion. So this is step one, and we can move over to the other side just for the sake of balance, show everybody how we do this. So again, kettlebells next to the right foot, off the ground, you're going to do your little hip thrust, you're going to squeeze those glutes, keep your spine neutral, and lifting the ball up as best as you can.
Can I ask you a question? What are common mistakes that people make when doing this move? Because I can understand why people would want to swing this.
Yeah, so I'll show you from a side view because it might make more sense. The biggest problem you have is bending over like this, rounding my back, all right? So that versus going down, you'll see my spine stays neutral. I can almost keep a broomstick aligned on my spine throughout the movement. No matter if I'm bending or doing anything like this, that broomstick, that line stays solid throughout. I don't break my spine, essentially. I mean that figuratively. Now, what the cool thing is about this workout is if this was a bit too easy for you, if you want to really get a good pump in, we can make this a ballistic movement. So from this stance, we're going to do the exact same thing, but instead of just raising it up till our waist, we're going to try to get it above our shoulders. So don't do anything yet. Let me just show you what you need to do, Jamie. From here, a nice explosive deadlift. It's almost like a clean, thrusting hip forward and grabbing the kettlebell in my hand. So it's nice and explosive, all the way to the top, and then I'm grabbing it in my hand. That's step one. See if you can get to this point, Jamie. Perfect. You see, you're
very light.
You're not a basic gal anymore. From here, a nice big press into the sky, bottoms up. It forces stability of the shoulder. It forces those rotators to really work. Back to that restart, and then onto the ground. And then watch this, just for the sake of fun. Switch it up. Boom. And now we're on the left side. All right, so we can repeat this movement. Let's go through the flow. And you'll find that this becomes a nice sort of dance that stimulates the body like you can.
I don't know who's dancing like this. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. That's where the dance moves come from. Okay,
you see, if you put kettlebells in my hand, I can actually dance. We should try that next time.
We should do that on Friday. Maybe then we'll step things up a bit.
All right, so let's try to see if we can go from left to right. Starting with the left, let's go up. And then a press. Boom. Ooh. Back down. And then switch legs to the restart. Back up again. Snap. Boom. Press up in the sky. Let's do that one more time on each side. It's a beautiful flow. Lovely coordination, lovely concentration required here as well. And of course, we're burning the curls too. All right, last one. Just what's wrong?
Again, I just want you to understand that he said this is going to be basic. There was nothing basic. I'm like struggling to just push it up.
So this last one, it's really quick, it's really simple, but it's a part of the exercise which I love. It's mobility, it's conditioning, it works a lot of the stabilizers, it's working the pelvic region as well, which we always neglect, and it's fun. Check this out. This is more of a dance move than anything else. Let me know what you think. So nice wide stance, have the kettlebell in my hand, I lean over to the one side, and I grab it. Boom, boom. Boom, there we go. Simple as that. You want to go for 30 seconds in total. You'll start feeling a nice, good stretch on those hip flexors, of course, as well as a nice, good stimulation of the glutes too. But at the same time, you're also doing a pull with a kettlebell. So you are working the biceps, you are working the back quite a bit. But like I said, mobility is key. You can hear I'm clearly out of breath. And whoo, Jamie Lee Domberg, that was not basic indeed.
It's fun, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Was it fun though? Yes, Mzansi. Let us know what you thought of that workout though. Definitely put us through our paces. This is how you're setting a tone for the Monday. Being intentional with how you're going to work out for this Monday.
Hope you enjoyed it, guys.
I'm breathing heavy. I don't know why. An incredible workout to set the tone for the day. But right now, let's set sail with those national news headlines first and give you a global perspective after that. But starting here in South Africa, the South African Social Security Agency, otherwise known as SASSA, has again called for those who have not collected their 350 Rand social relief or distress grant payments. Now, the agency earlier said that if the payments are not collected at the South African Post Office by tomorrow, they will forfeit it. The next that list obviously refers to is that of applicants approved in the previous cycle and not after President Cyril Ramaphosa reinstated the grant last month. Payments not collected by the end of tomorrow will be sent back to the National Treasury. Then Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says the October school holidays will not be scrapped following meetings with the Council of Education Ministers. Now, the minister said that lost teaching time would have to be recovered on a school or district level through this, although this must also be within reason. Under the current 2021 school calendar, government school learners will be on holiday from the 1st to the 11th of October. Casting a wider gaze on the international news front, Hurricane Ida last night in South Africa time made landfall in the U.S. state of Louisiana with winds of 240 kilometers an hour. It's said to be the worst to hit Louisiana in 171 years. In fact, in some places, the life-threatening storm surges are as high as 5 meters, submerging parts of the low-lying coastline. As you can see in the visuals, some 200 ambulances are on standby, also 3.6 million meals and 2.5 million litres of water ready to be sent out. Thousands of people have fled the state ahead of the storm. Ida is hit on the 16th anniversary, in fact, of the devastating Hurricane Katrina that claimed some 1,800 lives back in 2005. Then a little closer to home, Zambia's newly elected president, Hakainde Hichilema, yesterday appointed new military chiefs and replaced all police commissioners. That after he had promised to end the previous regime's heavy-handedness. Hichilema, who took office last week, was arrested over a dozen times during his political career and made restoring freedom a major part of his electoral promise. In a TV address to the nation, Hichilema announced the appointment of new army and Air Force chiefs and then relieved all commissioners of police with immediate effect. Next, hoping to emerge from the third wave in a rhythm of hope. It's a case of just what the doctor ordered for the doctor in this case. Dr. Bryony May of the Helderberg area near Cape Town has launched the organisation Together Against COVID, aimed at providing much needed aid to South African communities that are in desperate need at the moment. One of its latest initiatives is to have classical music played at the hallways of hospitals to show appreciation to all hospital staff and those members affected by the stress that comes with the COVID-19 pandemic. We know many systems being pushed to the point of breaking at the moment. He says, May rather, says that staff members in hospitals are always so surprised when the music starts playing. They come out to see what's happening. They laugh, they cry, they even start dancing when they realize that the music is meant just for them. Music says so much without ever saying a word. And May adds, and we quote here, with we will let music spread the message of gratitude and encouragement to healthcare workers at all South African hospitals so that we may emerge from the third wave, not in stunned silence, but in a rhythm of hope. And on that beautiful note, that's where we round off our news headlines. Let's delve into a very busy weekend in sports. Lots of good news to report back on in the Paralympics this morning. Andrene Veers, she's won Team South Africa's first medal at Tokyo 2020's Paralympic Games. The Stellenbosch sprinter won gold in the T47 400-meter event, crossing the line in a time of 56.05 seconds. And it was an incredible win for the runner who recovered from COVID-19 just 1 month ago. Then South African long jumper Ntando Mahlangu, he broke a world record and made it 2 gold medals for Mzansi after finishing in the T63 category with a winning final leap of 7.17 meters. Then Western Province and the Griquas have secured their spots in the Currie Cup semi-finals and will meet the Sharks and the reigning champions, the Bulls, in the Final Four next weekend. So Western Province, they claimed an impressive 35-24 victory over the Sharks in Durban to sneak into the semis. They're back certainly up against a wall with that one, whilst the Griquas and Pumas played out to an engrossing 13-all draw in Kimberley. But the Peacock Blues, they advance after finishing 3rd on the log. So the Blues will host the Bulls rather will host Western Province, and then the Sharks will entertain the Griquas in the semi-finals of the Currie Cup, as I said, this coming weekend. Plenty of drama in football as we head abroad. Liverpool and Chelsea played out to a 1-1 draw in their Premier League clash at Anfield on Saturday. Kai Havertz opening the scoring for the Blues in the 22nd minute with a beautifully directed header before Mohamed Salah's penalty in the 50th minute then equalised for the home side, the match ending 1 apiece. Now the Premier League results from the weekend. Defending champions Man City back to their best. They thrashed and embattled Arsenal 5-0. Tottenham had to work hard to beat Watford 1-0. And then Manchester United secured an away win, just edging out a very strong Wolves 1-0. Now on to motorsport. Red Bull's Max Verstappen was declared winner of the Belgian Grand Prix in a race that lasted just 2 laps behind a safety car at Spa-Francorchamps at the very well-known track. Now heavy rain prevented the race from continuing, and half points were awarded to the top 10 competitors. Williams's George Russell finishing 2nd, and 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, he rounded off the podium positions in 3rd with some much needed points. Then on to 2 wheels. Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo, he extended his lead at the top of the MotoGP standings after taking the race win in Silverstone yesterday. 22-year-old now sits on 206 points with 5 wins and 8 podiums this season. Quartararo finishing ahead of Suzuki's Alex Rins and Apria's Alexei Espargaro. South Africa's Brad Binder finishing in a very credible 6th position. And that was the first time in MotoGP history, in fact, that 6 manufacturers were represented in the top 6. Bodes well for the remainder of the season. That's where we leave our sporting headlines now. Jamie is standing by to set the tone for the weather front.
Thank you so much, G. I'll start off with this international weather news. Now, portions of the Amazon rainforest are now releasing more carbon dioxide than they absorb, thereby disrupting an important balancing act that signals a worsening of the climate crisis. Findings of a nearly decade-long research project published in the journal Nature suggest that deforestation and fire, among other factors, have dramatically undercut the Amazon's ability to absorb heat-trapping carbon emissions from the atmosphere. Researchers found that the southeastern part is putting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than it actually absorbs. The eastern Amazon is a hotspot of deforestation to facilitate logging and agriculture, including cattle ranches. The study says the rise in emissions from the Amazon, often described as the lungs of the world, has been accelerated by warming temperatures as well as moisture stress during the dry season due to climate changes. Now, with so much awareness being raised around global warming, we also need to take the time to appreciate the beauty that we are offered by the earth at the start of each brand new day. Cue sunrise photos. Andrew Harris from Belito shared this beauty of a photo showing the sun illuminating the clouds from behind. Another one came through from Polosho Mukome from Bushbuck Ridge, captured this silhouetted photo as the sun rises in the distance, showing us stunning hues of orange and yellow. We love to see it. We love seeing them, so keep them coming. Keep them flowing on our social media pages. Who knows, you might get a feature here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. But right now, here's a second look at the temperatures for today. We start off with you, Polokwane. Do expect a low of 7 today that will peak at 22. If you find yourself in Umbombela, expect a range of 13 to 27. For you, Pretoria, it is a low of 8, peaking at 21. Johannesburg, 7:20. Mahikeng can expect a low of 7 and a high of 23. And for you, Klerksdorp, it is a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 24. Kimberley, 4:23. Bloemfontein, 1:20. Richards Bay can be found with a low of 13 and a high of 25. And for you, Pietermaritzburg, it ranges from 8 to 25 today. South Africa's Playground, Durban, ranges from 15 to 21. Mthatha, for you, it is 3:25. If you do find yourself in East London today, do expect a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 24. And then Craddock coming through with a low of 4, peaking at 24 as well. Gqeberha, for you, 11:21. George, 10:21. And if you do find yourself in the mother city, Cape Town today, do expect a 60% chance of rain with an average of 11 to 15. Worcester, 7:16. Sutherland, 3:14. And then last but definitely not least, Uppington ranges from 4 to 25. Well, that is where I leave your weather here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
So as I was trying to say earlier, where the gods silenced me, I'm actually a little bit heartbroken that we are coming to a close with regards to Women's Month.
Yeah.
We really should be having the conversations that have been highlighted over the last couple of weeks every day.
Every day, yes.
Really, it's stuff that affects society on the deepest level, and we love to kind of cast a spotlight during this time of the month, and then everyone kind of taps off. Yeah, exactly. We put it to you guys on social media. What lessons or what have you learnt over this Women's Month? And I really thought hard about if there'd been a big shift in the way that I'm perceiving the narrative around gender-based violence, which certainly has thankfully become a really big topic over the last month. But for me, the big thing has been the conversation around period poverty and around how many young girls are being affected. I had no idea of the scale.
The impact it's actually having.
The impact that young girls are losing up to an entire year of their schooling career because of this. So to be a part of that conversation and the fact that more men are doing it,
and getting educated too.
Really feel empowered by that.
Now, Mishka Abraham says, good morning, Expresso family. Women's Day taught me that I'm very important, and it's all about putting me first and always to be alert and stay safe. Definitely put yourself first and put yourself on a podium while you're at it.
Yeah, completely. And Slantla Elsie saying, good morning, family. It's taught me how to stay safe and to protect myself from COVID-19 pandemic and fight for our passion.
I love that. Linda Tola says, Expresso Show taught me to always love myself and to believe in myself and to always believe I will achieve. Yes, Linda. I love that.
Repeat that mantra every morning. Benzi Benzini saying, good morning. Women's Day has taught me how always to be a good woman, mom to my 3 kids, and to know I have a 10-month-old girl. She has to look up to me as a woman. It's absolutely vital that we provide those female representations of what it is to be successful in business, in life. Young girls need to be able to see themselves emulated in women achieving. I think the distressing thing there is that so many women are focused on keeping themselves safe, and it's just heartbreaking that that's a part of the South African narrative. But hopefully you have found something that has propelled you this Women's Month, and to echo the words of all of our guests, that you do feel incredibly special because you are. Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. Let's inspire you now with an incredible filmmaker. Our next guest is an award-winning local filmmaker, in fact, whose short film, To Hues, has been doing the rounds on the international film circuit, and it's been well received. She's won 4 awards to date. The film's lead actress, Williams, also co-directed and wrote the short film, and she connects with us right now to tell us more about what sounds like the most amazing film, a fantastic way to wrap up our Women's Month coverage. Very good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you, and thanks for having me on the show.
Well, you certainly warrant the platform. It sounds like the film has been incredibly well received. You've won Best Actress in a short film at the West European International Film Festival. You're no stranger to awards, I know this. How did this one feel?
This one is different because it's a performance award, and it's the first time I received an award for performance. You know, I've received awards before, and it was for the craft of being a filmmaker, and it really means a lot to me because I had never acted on screen before.
Wow.
And you know, and it took a lot of deliberation before I rose to the challenge of playing the part. However, I do have acting training, and performance has always been a calling and a yearning. It's a part of myself that I want to fulfill as an artist. So it's for me, it feels like a great achievement and a big accomplishment. And also, I think the kind of synergy and chemistry of being both a writer and performer works really well. We've seen this with many kind of A-listers like Jodie Foster, Emma Thompson, Emma Stone, Mel Gibson, are some of the A-listers who are writers and actors. And I think that, you know, there are many people who both write and act in the industry. And I think this synergy between the two, it works really well.
And obviously, it allows you to delve into layers of that character in a way that no one else can, because you have obviously a very deep-rooted connection with what you've written. To Hues is a story about post-traumatic stress and patriarchy, if I can sum it up, oversimplify it. But maybe you can give us a bit more of the storyline. What is the premise?
So the premise is that the central character named Natasha suffers from bipolar disorder, and she is a silent victim of rape, and she's never spoken about it, and it plays out within her having bipolar disorder. And the film literally uses 2 colors to display her moods, her polar opposite moods. So the blue, like you see here on screen, it's her deep, dark, downward spiral. And then the red, pink ones are her manic highs. And I used color to convey the worlds of this woman suffering from bipolar disorder and her polarities as she experiences her sensory world.
I think it's always difficult as a filmmaker. You want to stay true to an artistic vision. You're there to create a beautiful piece of cinema, but you also are dealing with some very, very responsible topics that you have to handle with care. Was there a particular message that you were trying to send through this short film? What was your motivation for creating it?
So I think patriarchy has always been a challenge for me in my life, and especially being a Muslim woman, it's something we deal with often. And I think, you know, one of the core themes in the film is women's bodies and how legislated it is, and especially in the kind of Islamic context. You know, it's either, you know, in France you're not allowed to wear a hijab when it's your choice, and then like also women get judged for not wearing it, you know, in our society. And I just wanted to convey to the world the kind of the world that Muslim women live in. We are surrounded by patriarchy in our society, but then when we leave our society and go into a kind of Western working context, there's a patriarchy of a different kind and a disrespect for the culture in a different way. And I wanted to bring across the ambiguity of this character and how she experiences the world. And one of my issues also is with our religious leaders, you know, how often they preach to women to cover their head and to wear hijab as if it's the biggest thing in the world. But they never ever preach to our men to lower their gaze, to not sexually assault women, to respect women's rights, you know. And I would like to see more men, especially more men in the Muslim community, speak out against gender-based violence and sexual assault of women. Because it's a huge problem, not only in my community, but in the country. You know, we have the highest rate of femicide in the world. 1 in 4 women in South Africa are victims of sexual assault. These statistics are harsh, and something has to be done about it. And To Use is a film which speaks out against those statistics.
I think it's amazing how you have carried those polarities through the personal with the mental condition, but on the grander scale, how everything has become so polarized at the moment. I love the fact that you have taken this tack, and I completely agree with you. I think victims don't need to be a part of the conversation around abuse at all. That conversation needs to be sitting with the men, with the perpetrators. In the case of South Africa, I cannot wait to continue our discussion with you in just a moment. Such an amazing piece of film, but I think a far more important message behind it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations again on all the awards. Sounds completely warranted, but please don't move a muscle. We're going to continue our chat in just a moment.
Thank you.
Oh, what a pertinent conversation. I can't look forward more to the next one, of course, so don't go anywhere. But before we do, let's have a little bit of fun while we're at it. And while we have our incredible guest here in studio, realizing Equilibrium is here to spend the morning with us and you at home. Now, we decided to have a fun, as I mentioned earlier, and we're going to put her silky voice to the test with our favorite game. It's called Music Match, and this time it's got a twist because it's a Gospel Monday edition. So here's how it works.
Come
Ladies,
on, Jamie!
if you don't know how it's done, Jamie's a professional in this already, but essentially...
That's unfair. That's so unfair. I didn't even get a heads up.
Sorry, to be fair, every time we do this, I always go gospel, and then the boys think that I'm making songs up. Now you're actually here to
verify
that
if
these
there are
are
holes
songs.
in this lady or not.
Okay, cool. This may be a tag team also.
Yeah, but this is Pinkster. I got Pinkster, so I got old school, so, you know, it's before her time, maybe.
I don't know.
Just to make sure...
That's exciting.
So just to make sure you know the rules, obviously I'm going to give you a word. You then have to figure out a song, match that word in the song, and of course deliver it to us and the rest of Mzansi too. So being our guest of honor today for our Gospel Monday, I thought, of course, Megan, you can go first. And your first word for Music Match Gospel Monday edition is Jesus.
Oh my word.
Nice and easy.
Wow, now I just forgot that I even love Jesus. Jesus at the center of it all.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll take that. That's 1 point.
You know the
It's
song?
not that bad.
You know the song?
It's not that... No, I'm just assuming because it sounds that good.
It's a real
and
song.
she's
It is
singing
a real song.
It's got to be a real song. But I got to say, simple as that. That's how easy it is. All right, you got to take on Jamie Lee Dorman. Are you ready?
Here we go.
Our number one music match contender. All right, Jamie Lee Domberg, your word is year. Not diere, year.
Yeah. Here I am to worship.
Yes, that's a song.
Here I am to bow down.
Okay. Nice, well played. It's 1-1 apiece. Nice stuff. That's a good start. All right, Megan, let's make this a little bit more interesting. Your word is true.
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 This is the true.
True. We got 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
True.
That is a song. I know that one. True.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that is a good song. You know.
Sorry, that stumped me so much.
I don't know any songs.
We're just gonna roll with this because I'm loving the energy.
Her voice sounds good in
Jamie,
that one
step
as
it up.
well.
All right.
Okay.
Your word is a nice and easy one. Lord.
Lord. Lord, you are everything to me. Everything. Lord, you are everything.
Okay, all right.
That's your song. I can verify.
2 apiece, I think, or maybe 1.5 and 2 apiece. We will decide later. Megan, your word is, let's try to choose something interesting here. This is going to be an easy one for you. Spirit.
Spirit.
Yes.
The first thing is Beyonce. Spirit. again. Go to church. I don't know. It seems like
We'll accept that. We'll accept it because it is like going to church when Beyonce sings. She's really just found her equilibrium in her flow state and she's doing some crazy things. Jamie Lee Donvig, your word is grace.
Amazing.
Yes.
that was unfair.
I love the process that I hope you're watching at home, Zanzi. Watch how the mind works and then it's all and the clap just brings it all together. It's like a power
I thought you were
clap. I love it. All right. You're setting a good bar here, Megan. You've got to step it up here, I think. All right. So, your word is worship.
Worship.
Yeah.
To worship you I live.
Oh, another song as well. Yeah, yes, definitely. We got it. All right. Okay. Jamie Lee Donvig, your word for music match is not me, but you. There's the clap.
You are the Alpha and Omega.
Yes.
Worship you, our Lord. You are to be praised.
That song is like all the words that you just mentioned.
You just use that for everything. All right. So, your next word is not you, it's not me, but it's everything that we all seek and want in our lives. It's called love.
Love. A gospel love. Because I can think of, okay. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice.
You can carry on.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, my soul.
I absolutely love it. Okay, final round coming up. Okay, Jamie Lee Donvig.
Yes.
Your word is name.
Name. You're the name above all names.
Yeah.
And you are worthy of all praise.
Oh, I love it. Ladies, thank you so much for being a part of this. Megan, you've been absolutely incredible. Easy as that. We can clearly see that your music, your soul, and your voice is so needed on this Gospel Monday, and I think we're looking forward to your performances. So let's not take any of that beautiful voices' time. And of course, Mzansi, you need to stick around because we've got incredible performances coming up from this beautiful soul. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we should give them both a round of applause. I think we've got 2 winners here. Yeah. Our ladies on the pedestal. Well played, guys.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue a vital conversation right now because we take mental health very seriously on this show, and hopefully we've proven that. A little bit earlier, we spoke to an unbelievable filmmaker, Wiam Williams, who recently won Best Actress in a Short Film at the West Europe International Film Festival for her role in her short film, Two Hues, which covers some very topical issues at the moment, like patriarchy and post-traumatic stress. And we're continuing that discussion with her right now. I wish we had a couple of hours to delve into this because you are tackling such pertinent issues at the moment. But I've got to ask, because this feels like a passion project that you needed to tell. How long has this story been brewing in your mind? How long have you been wanting to tell the story of a woman struggling with mental illness?
I wrote To Use in 2016. I wrote it when I was walking in Newlands Forest, and I decided that I wanted to tell the story of someone suffering with bipolar disorder. And I thought that telling the story using color would be a really effective way to do this. So the story has been with me for a long time. I wrote it in 2016. And then we shot the film in 2020.
It comes with a huge amount of responsibility dealing with themes like this. You cover some pretty heavy themes in this film, mentally and emotionally. What was that process like from a filmmaker's perspective? We'll delve into what that must have been, how difficult or challenging as an actor, but in terms of putting the piece together, you obviously had to handle this kind of content with great care.
So I think the filmmaking perspective, you know, as filmmakers, we are always constrained by our budget.
Yeah.
And I had to chop quite a few scenes out of the film to work with the budget we had available. But those scenes, you know, without compromising the story. And then stylistically, To Use is very much influenced by the Three Colors trilogy. And the Three Colors blue was used as a stylistic reference for To Use. And, you know, that film is quite simplistic in its art direction. And we used it as a reference with making the film because it's a simple kind of, you know, directive in terms of its aesthetics. So I think To Use, it's quite stylized in terms of the filmmaking process. And also as a filmmaker, the film deals with some heavy themes, but at the same time, there's subtlety, you know. There's nothing grotesquely violent or don't think really anything majorly uncomfortable when you watch it. So I didn't want to make a film that was kind of on the nose, in your face kind of thing. So To Use is I think, a subtle journey, and it's a character-driven story.
Well, that then puts so much more onus and pressure on the shoulders of the actor, in this case, yourself, having to tackle such heavy topics. Did you need to decompress after these kinds of scenes? What was it like from an acting? Because clearly you tapped into something amazing, an award-winning performance, in fact, and as you said, something you're really proud of. What was that journey like, delving into this kind of subject matter and the nuance of this kind of character as a performer?
It took a while, like just getting into the character and the headspace. And, you know, obviously I have to switch off being myself, like being a mother, being, you know, so it's like you're entering into a different zone when you take on the role of a character other than yourself. And my co-director assisted with that a lot, Dominique Jossi. As well as, you know, the very seasoned actors who were on board the production, like Abdu Adams and Khalil Kathrada, were very supportive. And my husband, too, who's the DOP, Nafia Cox. There was a lot of support from the team in terms of, you know, me taking on this acting debut for 2 years. And I think it is a heavy part. And it did sit with me for a while. And my decompression with the work I do has always been just going into nature and going for a long walk. I live very close to some of the most beautiful walks in the country, so I'll just go for a walk in the mountain or something. And also prayer, like I do pray every day as a Muslim, and being on the prayer mat is a very meditative space of oneness, openness, and you know, it allows one a lot of light, I suppose, and, you know, your burdens of the world go away. I don't have very, very specific way of decompressing, but, you know, in terms of acting. But that's just generally how I decompress when it comes to the work that I do.
Well, you've clearly hit on gold with this one. Congratulations to you and your amazing team. I know it takes a collaborative effort to put a team like this, put a movie like this together, but it feels like a lot of that rested on your shoulders. So well done on the performance and the entire film. It looks amazing. I hope you win another 10 awards on the circuit, but we are such a pleasure connecting with you this morning.
Thank you so much. And I just want to conclude by saying that 2 U's is currently being developed into a feature film.
Brilliant.
The feature film script is at its final stages, and I will soon be raising funds to shoot the feature film.
Go fight that fight, girl. That is amazing to hear. Congratulations. That was Wiam Williams, the lead actress, co-director and writer of the award-winning short film 2 U's, now destined for the big screen.
Yeah, now destined for something good, of course, is the performances when it comes to Gospel Monday. And that's what we put up on our polls this weekend to ask you guys what performances and what songs you'd love to hear this morning. And of course, Mzansi, we're here to serve you. Now, realizing Equilibrium will be taken to the studio floor to perform a mashup of the common hymnal original track, God is Not Abusive, and the original track, Hold Tight. Now, the song Hold Tight speaks to doubting and hurting hearts, searching for a bigger truth. Now, this one got 20% on our polls for Gospel Monday. So without further ado, let us welcome Realizing Equilibrium.
God is not abusive, takes no pleasure in our shame. He finds a place inside our pain. Hallelujah. When hurt grows me to silence, bearing guilt from others' sins, Lord, lift my voice to cry out. Spirit, catch the tears that fall. Pressed on all sides, tension is high. You sit and cry, 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 waiting for the light. But morning rolls by with joy on the horizon. I'll make all things new in time. Just rest in me, you'll be fine. And hold tight on to hope, child. You are never on your own. Press on, there's a goal, child, till the day I call you home. I'll call you home. And who's the one the wind and tree sing of? Who's
Who's left the rocks waiting to burst forth in cries of praise? Who spoke the stars into existence? Is there one who knows time's end? And who is this King of glory we have permission to befriend? In the midst of accusing head shakes and pointed fingers full of pride, there was one man who walked with creation, and his purpose was to die. But in passion's perfect plan, love came twice as strong as death, with resurrection life for all of them, and calling out your name, saying, know my voice, hear my song, and let the sun shine upon you. Know my voice, hear my song, and see the sun's love surround you. Know my voice, hear my song, and see the sun shine upon you. Know my voice, hear my song, and see the sun's love surround you. And hold tight on to hope, child. You are never on your own. Press on, there's a gold child, till the day when I call you home. I'll call you home. I call you home. Hold on to hope, child, till the day I call you home.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, realizing equilibrium, of course, reminding you that you are not alone, and we've got so many more performances to remind you exactly of that. And of course, Mzansi, we're right here with you. Stick around, we'll see you in a bit.
Nourish your skin with Ingrams Tissue Oil and Rich Body Care range for 48-hour rich moisture. Ingrams, your skin, your brave.
it as your feel-good breakfast show here in S3. We're still all about celebrating those amazing women. It's the final days of Women's Month. Now, historically, afternoon tea was recognized as a space for women to find companionship and also initiate projects that were both social as well as political. Tomorrow, African Fashion International is celebrating the spirit of this with their free virtual Power to Empower Tea for Women's Month, which will see a panel of women who are paving the way for the next generation of female leaders, mentor the audience on self as well as business development. And joining us now is one of the speakers, AFI Fast Track Program Designer, Anita Makgetla. Good morning, Anita. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
All the better for connecting with you this morning. It sounds like a brilliant initiative. Before we talk about the broader focus, let's focus on what you do. What inspired your focus on sustainable fashion in your work and the upcycling of old clothes into very valuable pieces now? What was your inspiration?
Well, I think I've always been one of those kids who used to cut up my clothes to my dad's absolute chagrin. But I think, you know, there's always something beautiful about taking something that other people see as worthless and turning it into something beautiful. I think I learned a lot of that from Marianne Fassler. She's one of my existing mentors and friends. And there's just something so exciting about taking something that most people overlook and creating something beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Sure.
We're seeing some visuals right
Something
now, and it is
exquisitely beautiful. Yeah.
How has the AFI Fast Track Development Program been an integral in helping get your, your ethos pieces and also just your name out there?
I think, a lot of us that applied for Fast Track really wanted an opportunity to get our names out there, to reach people who would never have known us. We all have our own personal social media spheres, but to find a target market that really understands and is willing to spend, you need to go beyond your friend circle. And I think a lot of us see a program like Fast Track as an opportunity to really expand your boundaries.
Well, I mean, it's being proven. Here you are on national TV talking about it. Clearly, the platform works. What are you going to be speaking about at the Fast Track finalist, as one of those finalists at the Power to Empower Tea event, which sounds amazing? Tell us what you're going to be showcasing and what's going to be your narrative for the event.
Well, I'll be taking part in discussions alongside some really incredible panelists, but as well as that, me and the other Fast Track finalists will be showing our power looks. And for that means looks that we consider as empowering looks, the type of things that when you say someone's power dressing, what does that mean? And what are you trying to evoke with that? So us alongside other AFI designers will be showing just empowering looks.
Love that.
And what is power dressing to you, Anita?
I think a lot of us would agree that power dressing is dressing in a way that makes you feel powerful. Whether that is your exercise outfit, if you think about athletes, an athlete's power look would be performance wear. Whereas someone who works in corporate, it might be a suit or, a blazer with big shoulder pads. These are all things that, for the individual, become a power look.
Yeah. And you spoke about some big names that's joining you guys for the virtual event tomorrow. It is obviously being hosted by Dr. Precious Moloi Motsepe in Johannesburg, and then our very own Mambasi Kumalo here in Cape Town, and then Zozi Tunzi in Durban. I mean, big powerhouses of women. Why do you encourage people to really gain knowledge from the accomplished panelists as well as register to be part of the virtual tea tomorrow?
Well, I think, alongside the host, we also have incredible women from different fields. So I know we have someone from FIFA. We have someone who I think works in transport. I'm not going to rattle off the names, but I think, there's people from different fields that can appeal to everyone's interests. And I think it's really important to listen to women. I mean, during Women's Month, we constantly say this. We have to listen more to women. And this is giving everyone an opportunity, a free opportunity, mind you, to listen to women who have done incredible things in their field.
And I think for the rise, the trajectory of smaller companies for entrepreneurs, mentorship is absolutely vital. So I love the fact that this is being created on a platform on a scale that is this big. Anita, you seem like an absolute gem. Your work is amazing. Enjoy, relish the opportunity to join such an amazing panel. You've certainly earned the right to be there, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for you. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Power, power, power. Now you can harness your power to empower yourself with AFI's Power to Empower Tea that will be taking place virtually tomorrow, Tuesday the 31st of August. Register for your free attendance by visiting africanfashioninternational.com, and you can also apply to be a mentor or a mentee in the AFI Power to Empower mentorship program, which aims to cultivate mentorship in different fields. Now registration for this program is also available at africanfashioninternational.com.
Yeah, now power is knowledge too. Now especially, and importantly more so, when it comes to our food. Yeah, let's check this out. All right, so of course, like we promised you, we're doing something powerful in the kitchen this morning. Of course, it's not just about knowledge, but it's about feeding that body and fueling yourself for everything that you need when it comes to the events, the intentions, or anything else that you need to do on your Monday morning. Now, we are shaking things up, and we're doing something special. It's your baked fish routine with this delicious what's a spiced hake and a rice bowl. Now, it sounds delicious, and the panko crumbed hake portions are the stars of this show. And we are supporting players of Mexican spiced rice and zesty green dressing, and we are serious contenders in this too. Now, your weeknight dinner is deliciously sorted and being prepared by Chef Clem in the building.
Look, okay, can I just say, Chef Ryle has been stepping it up for the past few weeks.
Okay.
So today, I'm going to do 2 elements, and you're going to do 2 elements.
Are you putting me to work?
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. It's a nice and easy one. I'm going to need you to make the dressing that we're going to serve this dish with. Coriander, basically everything you see here, minus the spring onions, okay?
Okay.
So you've got
Are we blending it up?
Yeah, you're going to blend it up and then you put it. You got some sour cream, coriander.
Sour cream, coriander.
Lemon gold, garlic.
Lemon gold.
A little bit of water just to thin it out. A little bit of water.
All right.
That's it.
And then spring onion, of course.
Spring onion is going to be your second part that I need for the rice. So you can work on the dressing now.
All right.
And
Dressing's going
on. Can I give you a
what
bit of salt quickly? And
Chef, what are you up to on your side?
So what we're going to make today is we're going to take the Willie's panko crumbed hake portions.
Okay.
We're going to pop it in the oven or at home, air fry if you're using an air fryer. Yeah. And then we're going to serve it with that delicious dressing, a spicy rice, and a quick slaw. It's colorful, it's amazing, it's delicious, and it comes together really quickly, especially if you're double teaming it in the kitchen.
Yes.
Get someone else to help you. This is fun. So oil goes into the pan, and this is going to be our seasoning for our rice. And I'm keeping in mind, like, it's Monday. No one wants to be in the kitchen forever. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to make rice from scratch. You could. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the rice that's already made.
Oh, you
and these are lifesaver.
You little cheater.
I absolutely love these. These are amazing. So just break it up inside the packet, get it into the pan, start mixing it. As it cooks, the big pieces will start breaking up.
It is part cooked already, or
it's cooked,
right? So you could just pretty much heating it up, eh?
It's cooked.
Convenience at its finest, as always. Willie's coming through. Yep. And then I just wanted to make sure. I know it's a silly question. I was supposed to take the skin off, right?
No, but you know what I like about that? You were supposed to. No, not that. You were supposed to squeeze the juice out. But
just went all
here's what I actually realized now. Okay. You're adding more texture to the sauce by adding the actual Clement Gold in there. It's perfectly fine. Because you know, Ryle,
I've upgraded your recipe.
He goes and finds ways to add extra nutrition. He's now adding extra fruit fibers to it. That's perfect. So he's added extra fiber to the sauce. You've just taken the recipe and you've made it. It was here. You took it there.
Officially been pumped.
See, amazing. Okay, rice is gonna break up nicely inside the pan, and I've got, like I said, I've got the spices in there. The spices that I added in there is the Mexican spice mix. So that's gonna start toasting. It's like fried rice.
All right.
Okay, and so start seasoning our rice as well. Like I said, just give it some time. The rice will break up.
How long roughly would that take?
This is gonna take about 2 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is a quick dish.
Just that. While you're up to that, let me just make some noise quickly. 1, 2, 3. Noise. How long am I mixing the sauce for the what is it, a dressing, the sauce, the chopping?
That's it.
Is that good?
That's it. And then obviously the more coriander you add, the greener it's going to become and the more herbaceous it'll be.
Yeah, herbaceous. I like that.
checked me yesterday on the dictionary.
Herbaceous
I was
indeed.
going through all the food words. Food words I can say on TV on Monday.
What other words did you learn for today? Bellyfulizing.
Okay, so we're gonna do foodie word of the day. Okay, today's word, herbaceous.
Herbaceous, I like
I'm back
that.
on Wednesday, we'll do another word. Okay,
See you
do another
next
word.
one.
Okay, cool. So rice is gonna keep on going. Then, let's talk about our fish. There's one thing I absolutely am obsessed with the way we think about seafood at Woolworths. It's sustainability first. And I know that's also right up your alley. All about
course,
nature,
man.
nature boy.
Yes.
So
especially when it comes to what we're harvesting from the ocean.
it is,
right?
it is. It's so, like that saying, there's so many fish in the sea. Ah, no.
Not anymore. I
No.
don't think anyone says that anymore, yeah.
And we have to start looking after our oceans today for Raul Jr., for him to be able to have this meal, which is really important.
Jeez.
So we're able at Woolworths to track it from sourcing the fish till it goes to the shelf. And that's important. It's taking responsibility for tomorrow. So we know where the fish came from, you know? It's just something you have to do.
More traceability, more awareness of the fact that your impact on eating this isn't doing the damage that it could potentially do from how things are being fished these days, which I love this. This is brilliant. I got to say one word of advice.
Tell me.
Which I just went through now and advised no one to do this. I was playing around with some of the ingredients and I touched the chili and I scratched my eye and it's burning right now, Cliff.
Okay.
Don't do that,
Right.
people.
So we can take some lemon juice. You should rinse it out.
Got it in my eye. Are you
No,
serious?
we're in your hands.
Please, I'm like burning here, man.
Lemon juice or acid will strip the
So I can
capsaicin
just
oil.
like
No,
rub my-
don't put it in. It's burning. Go wash your hands. Go wash your hands. Okay. So what you can do is, if you do get any chili oil in your eye, rinse your eye out with milk. Okay. This also goes for deep heat. Have you ever used deep heat and then you forget to wash your hands?
Oh, all the time,
you
man.
touch stuff.
Can't
And
see.
then you just like, what's happening now? So okay.
That's
for
me right now.
capsaicin, for capsaicin, yogurt, milk. So you can actually add some milk, or milk will go into your eye to take that sting away.
Oh, nice.
This is not coloring your outline, but we're coming through with the axe.
I
milk.
like this.
Absolutely.
I like this. Okay.
So, back to cooking. All right. So you take your egg portions. I'm just going to do 2 now just for show.
Okay.
I do these at home in the air fryer. It is just amazing. It's
And
so
so
quick.
much quicker, eh?
Quick. And it goes so extra crispy. Then, you're good to go. For this, for a quick slaw, all I'm going to do is some cabbage, let's add the tomato.
Yeah,
No, tell you what, let's do the tomato afterwards. Cabbage, pickled onions. You can use normal red onions.
Okay.
Chili.
Not in the eye.
Not in the eye. There we go. And then the other half of your lemon that you
That you didn't wash your hands with.
that
to
you
get the chili off.
to wash your hands with, and then give it a mix.
It's very like Asian slow looking, eh?
It is just about like, you know, the one thing I love about Asian cuisine, Mexican cuisine, or Latin American cuisine is the fact that the ingredients are, it's not complicated, it's things that you know, but the combination of them just like come through with flavor. So you don't have to like empty up your whole cupboard to get flavor. It's a few key ingredients, it's like a few smart ways to put it together, and you've got a dish that everybody's happy with. Okay.
Beautiful. So we've got the slaw, we've got the fish, we've got the rice. Anything else we're waiting
Let's
for?
go. Okay, so the fish is done. We've got the fish, sauce. I'm going to take some of this rice. I haven't completely, I stopped it to just, you know what, can I pass this one? I stopped it, but when you're at home, you'll just cook it until you can smell those spices coming through.
Okay.
The rice will be like fried rice, which I absolutely love. And these packets of rice, the thing about fried rice is it has to be, for the best fried rice, about a day old. Okay? It has to be a little drier.
Okay.
So these packets of rice is a perfect texture to get
Perfect.
that. Okay, so use your hands. I've washed my hands.
All right, let's
Little bit of
wrap
slaw
this
goes on.
up, Clem. You promised me we're going to do this in no time at all, and we almost
Fish goes down. Then we're going to add a few tomatoes, a few coriander, an avo. We don't have time to add the whole. No, I'm not going to do that.
You're about to chuck the whole thing in.
There we go. And then Raul's amazing dressing is over
there it
here.
is.
This is how you make-
Voila.
And you look at that, he's even made a chefy foam. Wow. Cape
is
Town
how you
restaurants,
do it.
1,500 Rand for this dish. And we only had one little incident.
Well done, man.
Next,
Woolworths,
on
of course.
Wednesday, Raul's going to make the whole thing by himself. Well done, my man, well
Challenge
done.
accepted. You can get the recipe on woolworths.co.za, of course. Full of colors, full of life, full of all the goodness. And you got it here first. Thank you very much, Chef Clem.
I'll go get the milk for your eye.
Thank you.
Every time you brew a cup of reviving Origins coffee,
you're restoring land, empowering farmers, and supporting livelihoods.
so every sip touches hundreds of lives.
And offers an inspiring taste experience in return.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. It's Monday, of course, and what a show it's already been. We're cooking up a storm, and the performances are turning into fire. Gospel Monday is carrying on. Of course, realizing equilibrium is still in the building. But before we get into those performances, let's first take a look at the last bit of the news with Jamie Lee Domvik.
Thank you so much, Raul. 4 minutes after 8 o'clock, time to have a final look at those news headlines. Starting with your national news, the Cape of Good Hope SPCA is going door to door to vaccinate all pets in the Khayelitsha area of Cape Town. Now, this is after 2 cases of rabies were reported. SPCA spokesperson Belinda Abram said they wish to vaccinate 70% of all dogs and cats in the area in an effort to bring the disease under control. She added that statistics have shown that once 70% of the population was vaccinated, then the virus could potentially be eliminated. The rollout is done free of charge. And then the South African Social Security Agency, or better known as SASSA, has again called for those who have not collected their 350 Rand social relief or distress grant payments. The agency earlier said if the payments were not collected at the South African Post Office by tomorrow, they would forfeit it. The list referred to is that of applicants approved in the previous cycle and not after President Cyril Ramaphosa reinstated the grant last month. Payments not collected by the end of tomorrow will be sent back to the National Treasury. On the international front, scientists have discovered a 43-million-year-old fossil of a previously unknown amphibious 4-legged whale species in Egypt that helps trace the transition of whales from land to sea. The newly discovered whale belongs to a group of extinct whales that falls into the middle of that transition, the Egyptian-led team of researchers have said. The new whale has an estimated body length of some 3 meters and a body mass of about 600 kilograms and was likely a top predator. And then Hurricane Ida last night, South African time, made landfall in the U.S. state of Louisiana with winds of 240 kilometers per hour. It's said to be the worst to hit Louisiana in 171 years. In some places, the life-threatening storm surges are as high as 5 meters, submerging parts of the low-lying coastline. Some 200 ambulances are on standby. Also, 3.6 million meals and 2.5 million liters of water are available. Thousands of people have fled the state ahead of the storm. Ida has hit on the 16th anniversary of the devastating Hurricane Katrina that claimed some 1,800 lives in 2005. And then finally, a farmer expresses grief with sheep art heart. A more touching tribute you'll go far to find. Because of lockdown restrictions, Australian sheep farmer Ben Jackson of New South Wales couldn't attend his favourite Aunt Debbie's funeral when she passed after battling cancer. So he sent her a sign of his love and affection by means of sheep art, making her a gigantic heart out of hundreds of sheep and then filming it from above using drone footage. He managed this by spreading feed in the shape of a heart on his farm and then allowed scores of hungry, mostly pregnant ewes to enter and begin munching away. The heart-shaped scene on video included her favourite song, Simon & Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and it was shown at her funeral. Jackson said, "I hope she was peering through the clouds and was able to see it." One can quite understand that this story has been covered by news media around the globe, and we understand why. On that note, that is where I wrap your 8 o'clock news headlines. Here is G with a final look at the sports.
Fantastic news to report on from the Paralympics. Renee Veyers has won Team South Africa's first medal at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. The Stellenbosch sprinter won gold in the T47 400-meter event, crossing the finish line in a time of 56.05 seconds. Was an incredible feat for the runner, who was in fact recovering from COVID-19 just 1 month ago. Then South African long jumper Ntando Mahlangu, he broke a world record and made it 2 gold medals for Mzansi after finishing first in the T63 category with a final leap of 7.17 meters. Then on to rugby. Locally, Western Province and the Griquas have secured their spots in the Currie Cup semi-finals and will meet the Sharks and the reigning champions, the Bulls, in the Final Four next weekend. So Western Province, with their backs up against the wall, claimed an impressive 35-24 victory over the Sharks down in Durban to sneak into the semis, whilst the Griquas and Pumas, they played out to an engrossing 13-all draw in Kimberley, but it was the Peacock Blues advancing after finishing third on the log. So the Bulls will be hosting Western Province, and then the Sharks will entertain the Griquas in those semi-final berths on our Currie Cup weekend this coming weekend. As I said, plenty of drama in football this weekend as well. Liverpool and Chelsea played out to a very dramatic 1-all draw in their English Premier League clash at Anfield on Saturday. Kai Havertz opened the scoring for the Blues in the 22nd minute with a beautifully directed header before Mohamed Salah's penalty in the 50th minute then equalised for the home side, with the match ending at 1 apiece. In other Premier League results from the weekend, defending champions Manchester City looked back to their best, thrashing an embattled Arsenal 5-0. Tottenham had to work hard to beat Watford 1-0, and then Manchester United secured an away win, just edging out a very spirited Wolves 1-0. Then on to motorsports, more drama there. Red Bull's Max Verstappen was declared winner of the Belgian Grand Prix in a race that lasted just 2 laps behind a safety car at the Spa-Francorchamps track. Heavy rain preventing the race from continuing, and half the points were then awarded to the top 10, and vital points at that. Williams' George Russell, he finished second, and 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, he rounded off the podium positions in third with some much needed points there as well. Then moving to two wheels, Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo, he extended his lead at the top of the MotoGP standings after taking the race win in Silverstone yesterday. The 22-year-old sits on 206 points now with 5 wins and 8 podium finishes this season. Quartararo finishing ahead of Suzuki's Alex Rins and Apria's Alexei Espargaro. South Africa's Brad Binder had another great race. He finished in 6th place. This was the first time in MotoGP history, in fact, that the manufacturers, 6 different manufacturers, were represented in the top 6 finishes. Well, that's where we leave our sport for now. Let's get another take on the weather.
Some sad news on the weather front. A mild cold front is expected today, but the weather will be warmer than during the past weekend. The South African Weather Service says although some rainfall is expected along the coastal regions of the Western Cape, it's not as severe as during the past weekend. This as many residents of KZN and in the rest of the country woke up on Saturday morning to a winter wonderland as snow had fallen throughout the night. Places such as Mooi River, Giants Castle and even parts of the Natal Midlands, Pietermaritzburg and Hillcrest were turned into a winter landscape. In the Western Cape, however, chasing the snow was a wonderful way to spend a Sunday, but a number of traffic snarl-ups occurred at some popular locations, especially around Ceres. Freezing temperatures preserved snowflakes on the ground, providing an ideal terrain for frolicking in the snow, and vehicles were gridlocked and moving at a snail's pace in the Franschhoek Pass as well as Mitchell's Pass. Now, you know what we love? We love the fact that so many got to experience the snow that fell across parts of the country this weekend too. And fun fact for our international viewers that are perhaps a little confused by our excitement, we very rarely experience these kind of weather conditions here in South Africa. Now, we started the morning off with Anthea Kruger from Woester, who captured this picturesque image of the snow-capped mountains in her area this weekend. And then Clive Payne from Strand was also inspired to pull out his camera while overlooking the Hottentot Holland mountains covered in snow. We, of course, had some sunrise photos to share with you guys as well. So at 7 a.m., we featured Andrew Harris from Belito, who shared this beauty of a photo showing the sun illuminating the clouds from behind. And then last but definitely not least, Polosho Mokome from Bushbuck Ridge captured this silhouetted photo as the sun rises in the distance, showing us stunning hues of orange and yellow. Keep them flowing. Now, if you were able to get out to have a frolic in the snow this weekend, you know we want to see those pictures come through. So head on over to the Expresso Facebook page to share those photos with us. But right now, here is a final look at the temperatures for today, getting you geared up for this Monday. Polokwane for you, it is 7-22. Umbombela ranges from 13 to 27. Pretoria, if you're out and about, do expect a low of 8 and a high of 21. Johannesburg ranges from 7 to 20. And then Mahikeng can be seen with a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 23. Klerksdorp for you, it is 5-24. Kimberley ranges from 4 to 23, and then Bloemfontein -1, peaking at 20. Richards Bay ranges from 13 to 25. Pietermaritzburg can be seen with a low of 8 and a high of 25, and then South Africa's playground at Durban ranges from 15 to 21 today. If you do find yourself in Mthatha today, do expect a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 25. East London 11-24. For you, Craddock, it is 4-24, and then for you, Gqeberha 11-21. George 10-21. The mother city Cape Town can expect a 60% chance of rain today with a low of 11 and a high of 15. Worcester 7-16. Sutherland 3-14, and then last but definitely not least, Uppington ranges from 4 to 25. Hopefully that has geared you up for this Monday, and that is where I leave your weather here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Now, of course, you have heard it before, and we're about to hear it once again. It was such a soothing sound, and we are back with Realizing Equilibrium, aka singer, songwriter, and principal storyteller. It's Megan Schilder, and she'll be performing this song, I'll Stay Quiet. Now, this quietness is a quiet confidence in God that we are not alone and never without a lifeline. Now, this one had 20% on our Gospel Monday poll, so thank you, Mzansi, for coming through and choosing this absolute treat. And here you are with the incredible song, I'll Stay Quiet. This is Realizing Equilibrium.
Reflecting blue as the sky, rivers dancing flow, a lullaby, crossing borders, giving life beyond the reach of mortal human eyes. Reach thirsty lives. And in the gentle stream, sacred motion, I'll stay quiet, I'll stay quiet. There's too much to be, creation groaning. I'll stay quiet, oh, I'll stay quiet. The Savior beckoning, humbling me. Oh, in the gentle stream, sacred motion. I'll stay quiet. Oh, oh, oh. I'll stay quiet. Oh. And I've got a river of life. You are my river of life. I've got a river of life. And I've got a river of life. You are my river of life. I've got a river of life. And I've got a river of life. Oh, you are my river of life. I've got a river of life. And I've got a river of life. Oh, you are my river of life. I've got a river of life. I've got a river of life. Ooh, in the gentle stream, sacred motion, I'll stay quiet. Oh, I'll stay quiet. There's too much to be, creation groaning. I'll stay quiet. Oh, I'll stay quiet. Oh, Savior beckoning, unveiling me. Oh, in the gentle stream, sacred motion. I'll stay quiet. I'll stay quiet. I'll stay quiet. Oh, I'll stay trusting. Set my confidence on you.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, realizing equilibrium, delivering everything that we asked for on this Gospel Monday. And of course, you don't have to fret because there's one more performance coming up from this incredible group. So do not go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Time to get into our talk for Women's Month. It's the final few days of Women's Month, and this is a bit of hard facts that I'm about to hit you with. Now, according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 3 women have experienced either physical or sexual violence in their lifetimes, while a report by Women in the Workplace found that 35% of women in corporate sector jobs have experienced sexual harassment. Now, these are real issues that affect women in all levels of society.
It is a Monday, and that means we are talking all things relationships, and I suppose this speaks to a broader relationship. And today we are asking, what is the cost of sexual harassment and, most importantly, gender-based violence? The director of the social services organization Callas Foundation, Caroline Peters, is here to help us try to understand what is going on, and we are taking your questions and comments via our Facebook page. Caroline, when I've got to take in 5 deep breaths, just broaching the subject matter, it speaks volumes. It's the fact that we are still talking about this, the fact that not only is it still such a pervasive element of our society, it seems to be gaining momentum. Why is gender-based violence still such a problem in our country?
I think if we speak gender-based violence, it is definitely on the rise. You know, one of the things that you just mentioned, Jody, was... Jody, sorry.
Well, you can call her whatever you want today.
So you just said 1 in 3 women. A recent study found that every second woman was abused, even unknown. You know, so some of the things that we grow up with, we don't even see it as abuse.
Don't even identify it.
We don't identify it. And the recent study showed that 1 in every 2 women was subjected to some form of abuse during their lifetime, and that is shocking. It is worse than a country that is at war. If you look at rape statistics, every 25 seconds, so just count to 25, another woman is raped. If you look at our femicide figures, every 3 hours a woman is murdered in our country. So 8 women die daily at the hands of perpetrators, and more than likely 70% of the time perpetrators is known to the victim.
And I'm glad that you're hitting us with the facts, because I think a lot of times we almost think that it's died down. Because I remember the last time we spoke, that was in April, we were speaking about that first initial lockdown and, you know, how scared women are, they feel unsafe. Now that we're in, you know, this wave lockdown 3, where do we stand right now with those numbers with regards to sexual harassment as well as GBV?
Just GBV alone. I can tell you, if we look at the figures, during hard lockdown, I mean, we were locked in to save ourselves from the pandemic. However, women were locked in with their perpetrators. And you see that the, you know, Lisa Vetten just did a study now on that. So it's a year later, and they could research on the figures. And we saw the increase in the amount of violence in the homes. Remember, there was already the conflicts in the homes. There was poverty added to that. People couldn't go out and look for food, or we know that poverty adds to violence. And so we see there was a graph how when we were in level 5, how it increased. As we went down to level 4, level 3, it decreases. But we see a direct link to when the pandemic hit us, perpetrators were now locked in with the victims of violence, sexual harassment as well. If we look at sexual harassment, we saw now recently, we were all on a webinar, and we saw a woman was attacked on a webinar, an advocate presenting to the High Court around gender-based violence and sexual harassment. And one of the comments from a male on the webinar, not knowing his microphone was on. I mean, we've seen it. It was all out. It was tweeted all over.
Yeah, it went viral, understandably.
It went viral, yes, yeah.
There are so many ways of looking at this, and I think ultimately we want this to be an outcomes-based discussion. So I want you to think about where the answers are, because I'm sure you grapple with that on a daily basis. The cold, hard facts. 1 in 2 South African women will have been raped or sexually abused in their lifetime. They would have experienced violence. On screen right now, you can see a number that you really should have written down. I'm so sorry that every woman in this country needs to have this number on speed dial 0800 428 428 or 0800 150 150, or you can simply send a please call me. That's star 120 star 7867 hash. Caroline is not going anywhere. We're going to continue our discussion around sexual harassment and gender-based violence.
Yep, well, we're back in the kitchen right now, and it's time to dish up a classic that can be enjoyed with a variety of our favorite meals.
A classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy, the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover.
Yeah, now the the creamed spinach, not screamed, although that could be a new word, is an Mzansi favorite. Now, whether it's served on the side with the 7 colors Sunday meal or used as a filling. Don't worry, because Jenny Morris is here to show us how it's done and showing us how to use our Clover creamy spinach as a stuffing for gem squash.
And you're a little gem. I think I'd like to give you a squash.
You're going to squash me, you my gem for the morning. So show me what's going on. It's good ingredients.
Lovely.
It's stuff that I think makes good things taste even better as well.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, we've got Jenny Morris here to show us how.
Well, hello, darling.
The trifecta is here.
Yes, you make me sound like a racehorse.
You're not a racehorse, you're just the cherry on the top.
I'm a filly.
The cherry on the top.
Cherry on the top. Okay, so what I love about this is that I love the onions because it gives it nice depth. And we've got lovely olive oil, and we're going to put our spinach in it. And I can remember as a kid when my mother put peas in the gem squash, I thought, oh, this is ever so posh, because you would see it in the magazine. You know?
Yes,
and it
100%.
used to be done like that.
So we're doing something similar to that with the squash, eh?
But you know what I like about the squash? You can stuff with anything from mushrooms to, you can even put meat in it, sausage meat. Or
nice. So a cool opportunity to grab your favorites and get a bit creative with this one
and make
as well.
it happen. But this is what's going to make it extra special, my sweetheart.
Yes.
The cremel. So we want to wilt this down. You don't want to cook it down too much, just to get it started, because by the time you add your stock, it's going to bring it down again. A little bit of salt.
Okay.
But a little bit of salt, not too much.
A little bit of salt,
I love the salt. I eat it like rock candy, darling. It's so bad for your blood pressure.
I believe so, and I'm also very addicted to salt. Like I have it on every single meal. I try to use the pink salt though, because it's
the Himalayan.
Yes.
Did I say that you are like bad for my blood pressure as well? Naughty boy.
I promise, it's all savory, it's all peacey in the kitchen. Don't worry, we're just having fun. And Jenny Morris is just about, are you taking the crunch away from the spinach?
Not necessarily. You can cook it down as much as you want. This is very much a personal choice.
Okay.
You know, so I'm going to, and it needs to wilt. So I've got some lovely vegetable stock.
Okay.
You could use chicken stock, beef stock. It depends on who you're feeding. This is obviously not a vegan dish because this is made with real milk.
Really?
Real.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes, darling.
Okay, I know we've been using the cremel quite a bit now.
Yes.
Most of our cooking. I'm firstly just blown away by how many uses it actually has.
It has.
I feel like we throw it into almost every single recipe.
But you can.
You can.
Imagine with mushrooms, with a pasta to make a sauce. And I'm always heavy-handed. A recipe says only 2 tablespoons. Well, I just like that little bit extra.
No one's complaining when you do it, Jenny.
No.
Now, something that's really cool about this is also making creamed spinach generally requires milk or cream, as you heard.
Yes.
But by adding Clover cremel made from real milk powder, as Jenny just mentioned, you still get that creamy, tasty spinach that we all enjoy now. Other than tea or coffee, Clover cremel can also be used in baking and cooking, and it can bring out that rich and creamy taste of so many dishes. I'm learning so much about it right now, and again, this meal right here is the perfect time to add it in, eh?
Very nice for soups as well, let me tell you. Look at
this. I didn't even think about that.
Of course.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Soups.
Yeah.
But now what I've done is I have cooked some down. That is going to cook down. And we're going
so this is what it's going to look like at the end, okay?
Yeah. And as I say, if you want it more hunky-chunky, and chunky, you can do that, okay? Don't worry, I'm just making you blush. I like to make you blush. And then to make it a little bit extra special, I like to really...
Because you're naughty.
With the cheese.
No, we know you're naughty. We don't even expect anything less from you, Jen. But of course, I won't complain when it comes to melting cheese of almost anything.
Absolutely.
It's always going to taste so
delicious. delicious. And then you just can take this and pop it into the oven. You just want the cheese to grill and get all bubbly and golden and delicious. And then we just take a spoon and scoop it out. Who needs a roast? I mean, this is a snack.
So true. And on top of this, because I was a kid that didn't actually love vegetables when I was younger,
Yes.
so this is a great way to get the kids to get your veg in.
Oh, I do like
And it's masked in like this layer of almost like a pizza.
It's called deception. I love deceiving my kids. I used to put everything in a spaghetti bolognese sauce.
So when you were like, you know, like the dogs and you put pills in it, you did that with us.
Oh, absolutely, darling. You didn't even know it happened, Jen. My old husband couldn't stand beans. I used to make the most delicious bean soup. The only evidence that he had eaten beans was the gas, but he never knew physically that he'd had it in his mouth because I used to kill it.
Well done.
And liquidize it like anything. Okay. And yeah, so hide the veggies from the children.
Let's go with this recipe inspiration you can find at expressoshow.com. We're using some perfect ingredients, and one that we're using right here is the cream mal, Clover's Perfect Cream Mal, which can be used in almost any recipe that I'm figuring out, that creams it, that brings it to life and brings it the goodness that I think we're all missing in our meals. Your parents, your family, your friends are absolutely going to love this one, and you can get it, of course, on expressoshow.com. Nice stuff.
Made with love by Clover. Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue our discussion around sexual harassment and gender-based violence. It is a Monday, so we are speaking to relationships in this a broad perspective of relationships. We are asking, what is the cost of sexual harassment and gender-based violence? We have heard some of the most damning statistics here in South Africa from the director of the social services organization, Colours Foundation, Caroline Peters, to help us unpack. This is one of those discussions where you're constantly almost thinking out loud because you are searching for answers, striving for answers. Maybe the story that you related to us just now paints I say, wonderful picture in terms of what we're trying to achieve here. When we look at sexual harassment, especially in the workplace, it almost becomes that pinnacle head of this entire argument, the fact that men would feel free to be able to do that. What is the current state of sexual harassment in our country? Are we seeing it, for instance, drift into the virtual space, as you've said? What are the limitations, just so that a woman who is experiencing that can, as you say, start to identify that something is actually not right?
So sexual harassment is part of gender-based violence. So when we speak gender-based violence, it's not in a vacuum. Sexual harassment is one of the facets of gender-based violence. But just like I said to you earlier, we had a webinar with the High Court, an advocate in the High Court presenting about Muslim marriages with a hijab on, and one of the males then comments about the way she looks, not listening to a wise, to a wisdom, to a, intellect. All he saw was a woman that was behaving stupidly. And that went viral.
Purely because of what she was wearing.
Purely because of what she was wearing. And that went viral. It took away from the matter that was being discussed. I mean, the Muslim Marriages Act and where women fit into and how women, we know, or because with cultural marriages or religious marriages, that is not legal in terms of South African constitution. But so that went viral for the wrong reason. And it took away from what was presented on that day.
And a vital opportunity to present something
Yes.
that needed to be spoken about, but that then is perpetrated not just against that woman, that advocate speaking, but all women that are connected to that. And it's the stark reminder of just how backward the male headspace is. And if this is happening so frequently, clearly something is not being done about it. What needs to be done? And what are the repercussions if you feel that you are being sexually harassed? What do you do? Because surely there's the risk of reprisal in your workspace.
And like we just said earlier, we know with workspaces now how most of us feel we need to show up and be the best because we know economic reasons. I need this job, and especially for younger women, and not just younger women. We see it happening on in every sector of workspaces. However, I mean, we've just seen it happen now in SABC when one of the presenters was suspended. And what stood out for me, I'm not going to mention names, but he said he only touched the shoulder. She's saying, you touched me. And so it's about that. If I don't feel safe in a space, no matter where you touch me, don't touch me, And those are, there's a line, but those are things that men just take for granted. She don't want to be touched by you, so that's sexual harassment. But if I think of gender-based violence, you just asked about what can be done,
The burden of proof. How do we ensure success? Because that's got to be one of the ways that we can fight this, is with successful prosecutions. A woman having the strength, first of all, to stand up and be able to state her case is one massive journey in itself. But how do we affect prosecution? What does a victim need to do?
So I just want to make an example. On Friday night, I get a call. I've got a protection order. My ex-boyfriend is violating the order. Police at SAPS is not assisting me. And of course, off I go. I say, get me in the hail on Friday night at the police station outside. And I go inside with her. And the police officer says to her, a woman, female police officer says to her, now where's your proof that he did this? There's a protection order, and I start speaking on her behalf, and she says to me, she must speak. And I'm saying, I'm here to support her because we know when women are in violent relationships, their self-confidence is deflated, they've lost their voice. So I'm speaking on her behalf, and I'm explaining this to her. And at the end, we left the police station, but a charge was laid and he needed to go and be arrested. So that is why we need SAPS, we need Department of Justice, we need collaboration with DSD, with the health department. We've just seen with some statistics now, when we spoke about teenage pregnancies, we do not speak about 10 to 14-year-old children. Girls, those are girls.
Yeah.
That was statutory rape. So the headlines would read teenage pregnancies.
Not teenage rape.
Not teenage, yes, and it's reading teenage pregnancies, but we do not speak about the rape that has occurred there because it is illegal to have sex with an under 16-year-old. So it means she was 9 years old when she was impregnated. If a 10-year-old is giving birth now, that's a child. So we do not speak about that. DSD cannot tell us how many cases, how many charges has been laid against these perpetrators. So there's no collaboration between DSD, Department of Health, Department of Social Development, Department of Health, South African Police Service, and then, of course, the justice system. We see conviction rates
It's just non-existent at the moment. The harsh reality is, while we have been speaking now, every 25 seconds, a woman in this country has been raped. Every 25 seconds. We are talking about gender-based violence. Caroline's going to stick around for one more discussion.
Very, very alarming stats that we're seeing there. But of course, with Women's Month being the height and at the prevalence of what is so important right now, let's stick to the theme of women. And on a little bit of a lighter note, let's talk about something that I think a lot of women could do with right now. Now, we're talking about a bit of love, self-love, pampering and relaxation. It's always, of course, a good idea. Now, for all the ladies watching right now, Mina wants to give you a chance to win one of 4 pamper packs worth 500 Rand. Now, that's including a Mina menstrual cup and a whole bunch of delights to tackle the cravings head on.
I need that. I need a bit of a starter pack when it comes to that time of the month. Now, to enter, all you have to do is tell us what your monthly self-care routine is. When Mina comes to visit, maybe you love to snuggle up in bed with a good movie like I do. Maybe you want to indulge in extra chocolates. We know we love to stuff our face at that time of the month. Whatever your way is, let us know on the Expresso Facebook, Twitter or Instagram page using the hashtag #TheFutureIsMina. And the competition is closing at 11 a.m. this Wednesday. And remember, those T's and C's can be found on our website, expressoshow.com.
Purity, as your partner along your parenting journey, are also partnering with Cotlands to help raise 1 million Rand towards early childhood development. For every Purity toiletry product purchased this August and September, Purity will donate 1 Rand to Cotlands. Together with Purity, you too can help SA's little ones start their big journey and reach their full potential. Another Purity promise fulfilled. Purity, as your partner along your parenting journey, are also partnering with Cotlands to help raise 1 million Rand towards early childhood development. For every Purity toiletry product purchased this August and September, Purity will donate 1 Rand to Cotlands. Together with Purity, you too can help SA's little ones start their big journey and reach their full potential. Another Purity promise fulfilled.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Enough is enough. In the face of horrific statistics that we've covered this morning, we are searching for answers today. Obviously, being a Monday, we are talking relationships, and we are asking what is the cost of sexual harassment and gender-based violence. And we are back with the Director of Social Services Organisation, Cullis Foundation, Caroline Peters, who has been blowing my mind. Obviously, you've worked at the coalface and dealt with so many women who are in the... And I know that, yes, it crosses both ways, but predominantly women are being abused in this country. Why do women not have a voice? What happens in that dynamic that allows this to continue happening?
So one of the things is when we know women lose their agency, like we say, or they become disenfranchised, their powers taken away from them. We will see it with even, you think now, why doesn't she just leave?
Yeah.
You know, women stay for various reasons. Women stay because church says stay. Women stay because religion says stay. And women stay because of the family. You know, and I often look at women, children. We stay because we want to keep the family together. Women stay for economic reasons. Women stay because they hope for change. They hope to find that same man that they fell in love with. And they will say, actually, he's not so bad. It's his work. You know, it's the pressure at work, and he comes back here. So I've heard so many. I've been in the sector for almost 30 years, and I've heard so many different reasons of why women stay.
It's also the pattern. It's generational. It's a pattern repeating itself over and over. And if that's all a woman knows, she's willing to accept so much more. But I'm sure when children are involved, there is nothing that a woman won't endure to protect that child. So I certainly understand that. What needs to happen? What do we need to do to address this finally, to summate?
Like I said to you earlier, every person should be a safe space, a safe person for women. If I just, you know, I had a question on Saturday, what must I do? She don't want, and I said, you know, just be there for her. And I know that perpetrators alienate their victims from family, from friends.
Isolate them, yeah.
They isolate them, so what do? You stay there, you be the safe person. When she's ready, you encourage her to seek help. You create code words. During lockdown, we had code words. We were selling Cook Sisters. But in the guise of selling Cook Sisters, if you tell me, do you sell Cook Sisters? I say yes. I then ask, I can deliver, what is your address? In that way, I have your address. So then I check in with you daily. And what happened, when you ask me what's the price of your Cook Sisters, I know I need to send the police, you know. We also speak about interruption. Sometimes we say it is their problem. Gender-based violence is all of our problem. It is not a private matter.
No,
interrupt
not anymore.
The violence, not anymore. When we live in communities, I always say, send a child around. We would just make noise outside. You know, someone said last night, knock on the door, go ask for a bit of sugar. You know, that happens in communities. Knock on the door, go ask for some sugar. You interrupt the violence. When you see it happen, see something, say something. Don't look away. See something, say something. And I always say, because we keep quiet, the violence will continue. We see the violence escalate. It never gets better. And I say to women, it will not get better unless there is intervention. So see something, say something to all of us.
Just imagine if every man in this country could become that safe place. Caroline, bless you for the work that you do on the daily basis. Stay safe, and keep looking after your own mental health during what must be an unbelievably difficult time. We know that lockdown this last year and a half has exponentially increased the pressures that are on South African families, but enough is enough.
Indeed. Let us inspire you a little bit more as we are down to the final few minutes of the show. Now, our next guest is a local artist who finds her inspiration in the beauty of blackness as well as characteristics associated with being a black woman. Naledi Madupi is her name, and her artwork is focusing on the representation of black people as the joyful, bold and beautiful people. Naledi is connecting with us all the way from Johannesburg this morning. Just another way to celebrate Women's Month. Naledi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we're so good. It's so good to have you on the line. Thank you for joining us so bright and early. It's always appreciated. But let's talk about your beautiful work. Now, I've noticed, obviously, your portraits focus on beautiful, incredible black women. Why, though, is this so important to you, and why you focus on this specifically for your artwork?
Okay, I think representation is very vital in any social group. So the way that Black women are represented, I feel like for me, it just always tells one side of the story, which is associated with negativity and anger and everything like that. So I want to show women in a positive light. I want people to respect us and love us for just being. You know, I just want to show the good side of the story. So I think that's why I find it very important to represent women in a way that is not shown, basically.
Absolutely, and obviously with your work, you can see a lot of color in there. How would you describe your style, though? Is there a message behind each artwork?
Okay, I think it's obviously figurative and portraiture, but I tried to use shapes and colors to express each character's individuality and personality. So I feel like all my artworks are different. And with that, you can tell a story, like just one specific story for that one specific artwork. So yeah, that's how I work my colors and shapes. Yeah.
And we absolutely love it because Jamie and I have had a chance to just look at some of your work, which I must say is absolutely incredible, and it speaks of so much power and there seems like so much meaning behind it. But let me ask you this as the artist, the curator of all this work, is there a goal that you may be hoping to accomplish through your artwork? You obviously mentioned inclusivity being a big part of that, but what would be that ultimate end goal for you?
Okay, I think I want Black women, Black people in general, to feel represented, to feel very prideful of being Black, to feel like someone is contributing and helping us love ourselves, because we really don't. I mean, a lot of stories just push us from loving ourselves. So I just want to contribute to helping that narrative that allows for us to feel represented and to, to be proud of who we are, basically.
Keep pushing those stories out there.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Sorry?
I was saying just keep putting the work out there. Eventually, like we were saying, representation does matter, but it's up to you to put your work out there so that women, not only Black women, but women all over can resonate with us.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah.
As a Black woman as well, how has your artwork also preached to you?
Okay, I think being able to see a reflection of myself in every piece makes me feel like any other woman can also feel the same. And that makes me feel seen. It makes me feel beautiful, because that's what I always try to do. It's like I'm trying to say every Black woman is beautiful, dark, light, which is also something that is never really represented. I think my whole thing is about representation. So I want to represent every single Black woman, and I don't want to exclude anyone when doing what I do. So I think, that's it.
Well, now, lady, let me say this, though, and I think for the rest of the studio, we definitely want to agree with this. You are beautiful, and so is your work. And being someone that is a woman right now, which is it's so important, especially with it being Women's Month. It should be Women's Year, to be very honest. But I think it's so important that you are doing what you're doing, and you are inspiring. So as an inspirer to Mzansi and the rest of the women out there, do you have a message for South Africa, considering it being Women's Month, or just some words of encouragement?
I think don't be afraid to be who you are. Like, don't feel like you need to compete with anyone or anything. Be true to yourself and be the woman that you know you are. Just exude whatever energy you have. And that's going to touch so many people. I just think we need to be real with ourselves and enjoy being ourselves. Yeah.
Naledi, just to echo Raul's words as well, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inspiring so many women, so many Black women out there to put their work out there. Again, we want to thank you so much for connecting with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Oh, what a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I could feel that energy, and that's multi-dimensional visual artist Naledi Modupi. Now, she's stunning, and the art is too, and this art scene with her semi-abstract portraiture and aiming to inspire confidence and awaken hope in Black women. We are here for this.
Nourish your skin with Ingrams Camphor Cream, enriched with camphor and glycerine. Trusted to restore and repair dry skin. Ingrams, your skin, your brave.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, Mzansi. Now it's almost time to say goodbye, but before we do, we still got a little bit of magic right here for you, and we'd like to obviously thank the lovely Megan Schultz. You have been absolutely incredible today, along with the rest of your band. You have truly spoiled us on this Gospel Monday, and obviously you need to make sure that you are following Realizing Equilibrium on their social media for any more updates on that upcoming EP, which is going to be an absolute treat. Now, to close the show, Realizing Equilibrium will be performing the original track In Just One Moment. Now, this track was written out of lament and deep discouragement. It encapsulates a moment of realization that all a doubting heart has been longing for is Jesus. Now, this one scored 15% on our poll this morning, and without further ado, let us welcome Realizing Equilibrium with this beautiful number. Enjoy.
Fascinating, fascinating. Every moment, something like a dream that's just come true. Could it be my wondering found its fulfillment? A savior who looks just like me and you. And finally love has made its full expression, an impression that could change the world. Beauty is bursting at the seams. In just one moment, my eyes could tell. In just one moment, my heart has known that my brother is a masterpiece, my friend a work of art. Fascinating, fascinating. Every moment seems to be the world we all desire, where children play and mothers love our present fathers. Surely this an end to all the strife. And finally love has made its full expression, an impression that could change the world. Beauty is bursting at the seams, and in just one moment, my eyes could tell. In just one moment.
Here's to baking the winter blues away and trying new adventurous recipes to put the spring back in your step. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.